Friends, we're back. October 2nd, 2022, Virtual Strangers.
Your mic. I guess it is. Never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing. But
Excuse me. Virtual Strangers 168. What's up, Roots? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, except for I was looking at Eric's thing, and I was like, oh my God. It flashed, and it looked like, you know how before just stopped working. So I was like, well, let me stop Wes before he gets going. And I was wrong. I'm doing really good, actually. I got my coffee. I'm close to 80 for World of Warcraft, and yeah, I'm doing good.
Putting in that hard time on the World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, I'm tired too, man. I was just saying this before. I'm tired of people doing weird shit in runs, like, because I'm trying to do these dungeons, and I'm trying to raid heal or heal everybody, and like the tank runs in, and it's like he's pulling everything, and I can only heal so much, and but I'm a pretty good healer, but I'm not like pro level.
Eric, I think what Roots has here is called audio issues PTSD. Like he thinks something's wrong when there's nothing wrong at all.
He just assumed something was screwed up. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean,
It's a safe assumption, right?
it's like every show I go on. I think it's me. Every show I go on my show, Todd's got everything all frigged up, dude. I mean, he's like got everything backwards. There's echoes everywhere. We come in here, Roots is like automatically assuming something's already wrong. We're already screwed up, and we haven't even gone live for 10 seconds yet, and we're already screwed up. But this is par for the course for us.
Well, I'm calling it a win because we are here. It's been a week since we've been live on this air. And what a week it has been, man. You know, as I'm sure most of you already know, if not all of you, our good friend Dave Station VR passed away this past week. And we've all kind of been in a disoriented haze, you know, since then. You know, Wednesday came and we could have done a show. And we decided not to, but it wasn't so much because, you know, we didn't feel like it would be appropriate or anything like that. It's just, I was still kind of out of it and disoriented and in disbelief. And I didn't know if it was right or wrong to do a show or if, it, you know, anybody would even have cared what we thought about these games, and all this stuff seems so trivial. So it feels good to kind of get back on the horse here and try to get going again. But man, what a week it's been.
Yeah. Definitely.
It was a tough thing, man. I was not able to catch the PSVR Without Parole episode live, but I watched it afterwards, and man, the emotion. I mean, past, you know, feeling bad about Dave, feeling the emotions of the other people who are feeling bad about Dave affects you, right? Like for me, sitting there listening to Brian and listening to Creeper Betty and you know, and AJ and Miles and you, Wes, you know, talk about Dave. You know, it makes you feel for other people. You know what I mean? It makes you feel their emotion. It makes you feel their sorrow, their loss, how they went through it, and when they express it as well as you all did. For me, as soon as that part was over, I was physically drained. I couldn't even listen to the rest of the show. You know, I was in a different place, so it was tough for me. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing, man. When you lose somebody in a tight knit community, somebody that we all called friend, it's tough. It's a tough thing.
Yeah.
It really hit home with me yesterday just how lucky and blessed I am to be a part of that community. You don't realize it until a time like this. You know, I all week I'm dreading going into this Dave Station memorial, thinking, you know, what am I going to say? Do I even deserve to be in that chair? Because, you know, we were friends with Dave, but I wasn't friends with Dave like Brian or AJ or even Betty, you know. So I thought at first that I might feel a little out of place. But then when I got there, I realized why I was there. I was there for AJ, for Brian, for Betty, for the Game Cats. And, you know, I went in with the expectation of doing a 1 to 2 hour memorial episode for Dave, and it literally turned into an all-day thing. We did the episode. I took about 10 minutes after the episode went off, and then we went straight back into the voice chat where there was like 30, 40, 50 game cats there all talking, sharing their experiences with Dave, and a lot of funny stories. And then took about an hour after that, and then we did a memorial thing in Rec Room, kind of a party where we just kind of hopped around through a few different rooms, private rooms that I think Betty had made a couple of them, and someone else had made one of them. But I think Livinator hosted it, and Betty was very much in host mode as well. So thank you to those two for having me. And I've been a part of the Without Parole channel for less than a year now. I've been a member of that community for a few years, but it really wasn't until yesterday that I felt like I was part of that family. So I want to thank everyone who took part in that yesterday, and everyone who sent messages, and all of the awesome things that people have kind of done to make the last week a little bit easier. I really appreciate all of you, and Dave will be missed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You got Orange Bag Lady in chat says, she's new to the channel, and she's really sorry for the loss. And if somebody could let her know who Dave was and what happened, and you're probably best to explain that real quick, Wes.
Well, if you didn't know who Dave was, I would highly suggest that you tune in or click into on the PSVR 2 Without Parole channel. We did a memorial service yesterday, not a service, but a memorial stream where everyone kind of shared who Dave was to them. And Brian put together this beautiful 5-minute montage of clips from Dave's channel and from the Without Parole channel, and had awesome music behind it. Did you guys know that Dave was a musician? Like, this whole video that Brian put together had this awesome music behind it. Turns out it was Dave's music.
Wow.
Like, the guy really was like a Renaissance man and a multi-talented person. And this is something that I had no idea until yesterday.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was an excellent video. And if you can make it through that without, kind of losing yourself or, breaking down, you're stronger than me. Because, and especially that end part where, he had Dave quoting, he was basically quoting when he left the show. But it was very appropriate for him moving on.
Yeah, Brian did a great job with that, and he's done a great job all week, just kind of keeping it together and, being a leader. He doesn't think of himself as a leader of that community, but over the last week, he very much has been that. So, shout out to Brian as well. Anyway, I sorry to get everybody off on that down note here.
I couldn't make it through the video, Lash. I'm trying to make it through this part here without crying. So
yeah, it's tough, man. It really is. But we're here to move on. That's what yesterday was about. That's what today's all about. We're gonna get back on the horse and carry on the way Dave, I'm sure, would have wanted us to do. So welcome, friends. Thank you, everyone who's here. The tip train. Speaking of Dave, the tip train going off already as if he were here. So many tips have crossed in my peripheral, so I want to catch that real quick before we get started. Dark Angel, of course, with the $6.50 donation, all aboard. Of course, Traveling Man, $5. Toot toot, he says. Betty, picking it up. Toot toot, hopping on. Looking forward to the show. Let's go. Thank you, Betty. Tatum, $5 for Roots' OBS. He says Roots. Alakazam, $20, says love y'all and everything y'all do. Here's Quest Pro money. Well, I thank you for the $20. It is not going to be on a Quest Pro, unfortunately.
What are you talking about?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. If we can raise up the MSRP between now and launch, we'll get one, and we'll just share it, all of us.
We'll just keep
mail
sending
it
it back and forth.
Yeah, you can have it for a
Thing will be
month.
all
I'll
beat
have it
up.
for a month.
crossing
Yeah.
our fingers so that the mail doesn't lose it, right?
You're the fourth person to come. You get it. Your thing's all beat up.
Damn it, dude! How come
It's got
I'm
like
last?
jelly and peanut butter all over it.
Yeah, no,
That's not jelly. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Oh,
we would have to. We'd probably have to spend $100 just to keep a fresh supply of bubble wrap, so that we could try to keep the thing in one piece.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, shout out to Alakazam too. He just come over to the Q2C YouTube channel and sent a nice message saying that he just found us and was enjoying it. So.
Oh man, you've been missing out
Thank you.
for a long time.
Thank you for coming over. Appreciate it.
Anyway, we're going to do a bit of a different show. As I mentioned a moment ago, we were in kind of a bit of a disarray last week. We had some really cool stuff lined up for Wednesday, and we were going to just push it through to the next Wednesday, but then it dawned on me that it's time for Game of the Month. We can't do last week's stuff this week because we got to do Game of the Month this week. So what do we do in this situation? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a hybrid show today. We're going to do headlines. We're going to do some hardware talk. We're going to do some game impressions. We're going to get caught up over the course of the next couple of hours. And then this Wednesday, we're going to come in with some Ghost Runner mod talk. And then we're going to do Game of the Month. And unlike last month, Roots, I think we have a bit of a debate on our hands this time.
Yeah. Well, not for Radio Run. NFL. All the way. Actually, I had asked him last night. I said, Radio Run, are you going to tell me now that BONELAB has came out that it's not going to be better than NFL? I said, probably not. But I don't know. Maybe NFL will be the Game of the Month. I guess people have to tune in on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be unanimous. When I say I think we have a debate on our hands, I really do think we have a debate on our hands because we had some marginalizing titles come out this month, titles that are both loved and hated by different people. I don't think we really had anything come out that it comes to mind right now that it's just unanimous that everyone feels the same about it. There's so many different diverse opinions about the titles that came out this month. Game of the Month discussion should be a fun one this Wednesday. So you guys be sure to tune in for that. If you haven't already, subscribe and ring the bell. Whenever we do have these Game of the Month debates, we often fall back on the chat to help us kind of figure out which way to go with it. So I have a feeling we're going to need your help this week.
Is there a debate with PlayStation VR this month? Was there more than one title?
Yeah, there actually was a couple.
Was
of
it because was it Transformers? Did Transformers drop this past month, or was that the month?
I thought that was last.
I think Transformers was last month. Yeah, we had
Star Tenders.
Star Tenders.
Oh shit!
Something else. Yeah,
Game over.
something
Star
else.
Tenders winner. Come on. What are we talking about? What do we even buy? All right, cancel the show. We don't even need to go into it. Man.
Watch Mash talking shit as if he's ever played Star Tenders.
I am never going to fucking play Star Tenders, and I will shit over it every time I talk about it.
I think it would be cool if your community, the Q2C VR community, demanded you play Star Tenders, and you need to stream it.
I should do that one night. Do Star Tenders, Beat Saber, and Garbage of the Sea.
I think you actually said you were going to do that. At least yeah.
We should definitely do it.
Speaking of which, Mash, I was in Rec Room, as I mentioned earlier. I was in Rec Room for a long time and had an opportunity to hang out and talk to Betty for quite some time. Really enjoyed Betty's company. But we were talking about,
awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? She's so awesome. We were talking about B-haptics and some of the cool stuff that you can do with your vest. She just got one, by the way. She was talking about one of her favorite games has B-haptic support. And that game is a game called Garden of the Sea.
That's her favorite game? Oh, my God.
It's one of her favorites.
What would you do with B-haptics and Garbage of the Sea?
I don't know, but how could you say you like Creeper Betty and you're just shitting over
Have you ever
her
played it,
favorite
dude?
game, bro? Like,
do you even...
No.
Do you even know what the game is and what
No.
it's about and what it does?
No, absolutely not. I'm not playing it. It's garbage. No way. I'm not going into that game.
You might be
That
surprised,
would be a complete
dude.
waste of my time. I'm never going to do it.
Betty told me a few things that surprised me about that game. It's not what you think it
It's
is.
Animal Crossing in VR is what I've heard.
Well, that might be true. I don't know what
Doesn't help
Animal
me.
Crossing means.
That doesn't help me.
I don't
at
either.
all.
That's just what I've heard. I've never played Animal
It doesn't
Crossing.
help me at all. If you're trying to get me to play this game, that's not helping. You should tell me it's
Okay,
like, you know,
it's as good as
Mother
Beat
Gunship
Saber.
Forge,
It's just
and then
as good
maybe
as
I'll
Beat
go in there.
Saber.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mother Gunship Forge. There's a deep one for you, Mother Gunship Forge.
Excellent game. They just updated it, Wes.
I do. I know that. And we need to check it out because they actually remedied the few criticisms I had of it. It's actually, I think, going to be a little bit better this time around. So. Plus, we can play the campaign all together now. Like
I know, right? And
Yeah,
they
awesome.
added to the campaign too. I think they added a couple of levels. So.
And now you can swap guns. Wes is not stuck with one gun, thinking that's all I got, right? Mash could have been tossing him shit that whole time.
Yeah. Betty says she'll stream it for me. And Betty, if you stream it, I'll watch it. I'll come, I promise. If Betty streams it, I'll come and I'll watch it. And,
nice.
And
nice.
if I see anything that's, and I'll be fair, if I see anything that's remotely good in there, I will play it.
That's the thing, Mash. You are fair. You talk shit and joke around, but if you saw it and you liked it, you would admit it. What if it became your favorite game? Like, how crazy would that be?
I know, right? What if it took over as After the Fall? I put like hundreds and hundreds of hours into.
I doubt that's gonna happen.
Nothing's taken away After the Fall. I mean, I was in Miami. I'm in Miami now, and I'm still can't do anything but play After the Fall with Wes and his family. I mean, probably what did we do it 3 nights last week?
Something like that, yeah. And there was one that like we were going to play, and I just fell asleep. So it would have been more actually if I had any kind of stamina that day.
Crazy.
Yeah. You know who hates it when you lose your stamina?
I do.
She didn't hate it. She despises it. She'll like
Oh my God, yeah.
get real pissed.
Anyway, as I mentioned before, we have a lot to get to today, and I do not want to waste too much time here. So why don't we kick the show off the way we always do by saying hello to all of our good friends in chat. And I guess I probably should bring my chat window up if I'm going to do that. Betty, of course, is in the chat. Good to see you again, Betty. EV Man versus Gas is here. VR Spry Guy. Man, we tried so hard to get Spry Guy that automatic shotgun last night, and it just kept dropping us. Every time we would get halfway through a run, something happened with my network or theirs, and we just could not finish a run. It was very frustrating.
That game can frustrate the crap out of you, and then like make you just keep wanting to go back to the next. I mean, it's I've never seen a game that's quite like it. Even though that sounds like it wasn't a game, it was kind of your issues, but still, I mean, it's par for the course for that game. I mean, you just can't help but sometimes get frustrated with it.
Betty says, "Hi Wes, I had a nice time yesterday. I absolutely loved it. You know, even though it was such a somber occasion, I got to meet a lot of people who previously to that were just names to me and comments. You know, I got to hear voices. I got to take in some personalities, and then a lot of my favorite people were there. Betty was there, Tiffany was there, M was there, Dark Angel was there." Yeah, it was an awesome time. I really enjoyed it. Right? Yeah, awesome. Wolveraz is here. Ryan Brannon is here. Diz the Game Cat says there's 74 in chat. That's pretty awesome. Thanks, friends.
Yeah.
Chinatown D's here, and guys, D's PC that everyone has contributed to over the course of the last couple of months. She has finally assembled it. She is now officially a PC gamer, and she is now officially better than you.
Nice.
She thinks she's better than us, right?
Of course, she is. She's got a brand new gaming PC. She's
That's
better
true.
than everybody, bro. That's how it works.
Yeah, she can look down on everybody now and talk shit.
It's an exclusive club, and you ain't in it, ladies and gentlemen. Or maybe you are.
I haven't talked to Dee. What is she saying? Is that 2080 kicking ass in there with the new processor
she said
and everything?
she was playing After the Fall, and she was saying she turned everything up to high, and it ran amazing, and she was just super excited. As a matter of fact, she was playing Half-Life Alyx before the show, so she was I told her she needed to go into Boneworks and check it out as well.
Yeah, hell yeah. That 2080 Super is a good freaking card, man. You can probably catch them pretty cheap now. I mean, if you're looking to build a PC and you're not going to go to the 30s or the 40s and you want something cheap, I bet you could find a cheap 2080, man. And that's I never had an issue running anything
That's all you
with my
need,
2080.
man.
Really, I was running everything on pretty much either high or ultra on everything. And, you know, maybe you have a couple of small issues here or there with some games, but most everything ran great.
Brody's computer's still running legit, and he's running a 1080. So, you know, 2080 Super is quite a bit more than what he's packing. And I don't ever have to go in there and, like, help him, you know, straighten it out. He can handle it. So, anyway, Tatum's here. What's up, Tatum? Void, what's up, Space Dennison? Good to see you. Paradise Decay, always good to see you, my friend. Ryan Brand, I'm starting all over again now. Traveling Man, good to see you. Herb, the 24/7 Game Cat, says I'm glad I made it for an hour. Yeah, I was glad to see you there as well. Who else is in the chat? Artful is here. What's up?
There's Dee's computer right there for everybody to see.
Nice.
What am I looking at? What is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. I saw the first picture. Didn't know what that was.
No, yeah, I was trying to switch it around. I had to resize it.
Damn, man, that is pretty, D. That looks nice.
It's nice and clean too, right? Look at all the
Yeah, look at
airflow
that.
space. No, all the cables down below.
Nothing.
Is that a glassless case? It doesn't have glass
No,
on
it's
it, or
got
you just didn't
tempered
put it on?
glass. But this
Oh,
is
okay.
the only reason I really wanted to show it is, and I mean, all of you, I mean, not everybody, but so many people threw money at this thing, man. Like everybody had to play part to building this thing. So it's so cool, I think.
Absolutely. Mind Jive is here, as is, I keep seeing the same names over and over. Mepper, good to see Mepper. Hack's here. Yeah, Hack was in the house last night too. Good to see you, Hack. Greg's VR says, you know who else loves a mass debate? Virtual strangers. Yeah, I do.
Oh yeah.
Well, she didn't have the
else?
cover on yet, so there's no cover there.
Chatty people today. Alan Cara is here. You know who else likes tips?
My mom!
Oh yeah.
Damn. She's busy. all
Orange
the
Bag
time.
Lady is here, wondering what's up with all this my mom stuff. Yeah, sorry. It's just how it goes here.
She's very
Simplex is here.
promiscuous.
Yes.
Yes, she is. She's a fun-loving person.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
We try not to judge.
Good to see Rye Pop.
Please don't leave, Orange Bag Lady.
Good to see Rye Pop in the chat. Always good to see you, friend. Billy Goat Catfish is here. Techno Glitch is here as well. Dark Angel in the chat. Vargo Soft in the chat. Mr. Tasselhoff, good to see you, Tass. Funky Sloth is here as well. Genetic Blasphemy, the aurally haptic ghost cat is here. The
I
Fourth
like that
Wall
name.
Breaker is here as well. Eric for President, what the hell? What's up, bro? Long time no see. Of course, Brad is in the chat. We couldn't be talking about Quest 3 without Brad showing up, right?
That's right.
Mhm.
Cupra
You think he
AL
knows
is
something
here.
about it or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the guy, right? The horse. You hear people talk about getting it from the horse's mouth. Well, he's the horse, bro.
He's the horse. He's the leaker. Do you think he wants to be known as the leaker? It sounds like he's got like bladder issues.
Well, maybe that's why Brad smells. I don't know.
Black Market Honey is in the chat as well. Mr. Hype is in the chat. Mike Newton is in the chat. Andres Reynoso is in the chat. And that's as far up as my chat will allow me to go. If I missed you, I do apologize. I do appreciate all of you for being here. Roots, Eric, let's get into it, because this past week, we just said it. Our friend Brad did it again. Let the world know that the Quest 3 is in fact coming, and gave us all that juicy info, complete with CAD images, just like he had for the Pro. So, you know, who better to come in and talk to us about this than, again, the horse's mouth himself. What's up, Brad? Thanks for joining us today.
All right,
12 to 15, huh?
His mic is not going through for some reason. Yeah.
I hear him just fine. Is it not coming through on your
but
OBS?
see the line now, it's not moving.
Hello? Hello?
Oh, now it is. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi. Hello.
Hi, he's Brad.
I am Brad. Hi, I'm Brad. True. This is true. It's still true, I think.
Oh no.
Anyway, Brad, so out of the blue last week, well, out of the blue for us, I'm not sure how big of a surprise it was for you. You had all the goods, all the info on the the apparent Quest 3 headset, or at least what is thought to be the Quest 3 headset at this point. Most likely, at least, like you said, at least a year ahead of time. Really, that's the first thing I want to ask you about is, are you surprised about the timing of this leak? Because this one really, really seems a bit more premature than some of the previous things you've had.
So I don't think it surprises me that much, actually. I mean, it was a surprise to get these images this early, but at the same time, I was already hearing about, actually a couple months ago, that Meta was starting to talk to their supply chain about giving them plans for the Quest 3 so they can start getting those orders set. So I knew the Quest, or at least this version of the Quest 3 was at least being talked to with the supply chain, which means they have to send these kind of things to them too, right? But yeah, I wasn't really, I don't get to choose the timing when I find out these things myself, so it was a fun surprise, and I think it was, we'll get into it, but I think the whole overall theme of what we all saw surprised everyone, and like in more ways than one. But yeah,
Right.
it's cool, I think.
That's kind of what I was driving at here because, we've known for a little while now what the Quest Pro, aka Cambria, is going to be, and for someone like me who doesn't have endless bankroll and doesn't have a huge channel to kind of drive, it doesn't make sense for someone like me to buy a high-end product like that. So every time someone's asked me about it, I've been like, well, I mean, sure, I could go spend the probably $1,200 to $1,500 or maybe more to get one of those now, or I could just wait a year. We know that Quest 3 is coming next October, and then it's probably going to have the same color pass-through, the same features that Quest Pro has in a, maybe a bit more cheaply made package. So I was expecting, controllers that track themselves. I was expecting, color pass-through. I was expecting eye tracking, and I was expecting a new chipset. And anytime anyone's asked me if I'm going to buy a Pro, that's been my response. I'd rather just wait, buy it next year for $500 or $600. So that's why the timing was kind of curious to me, because I wasn't the only one saying this.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's at least maybe a possibility that this got leaked intentionally so people would know, hey, don't wait for Quest 3, because the whole narrative about Quest 3 since you leaked this stuff is not about what's in there, but what's not in there.
I get that. I get that a lot. It goes back to even when the hotel leak came out. Everyone was super skeptical about that, right? So I think there's always just like with leaks in general, there's always different levels of skepticism in terms of like intentional, unintentional. I will say, I can at least tell you with the Quest Pro, when I leaked those CAD images, I was told by many sources that caused a really big internal investigation within Meta. It was like a very serious thing.
But somebody got fired.
Yeah, somebody got fired.
Probably
big
got
time.
fired.
Well, someone may have got fired, but I still got these CAD images months later. So maybe if they did fire someone, they fired the wrong person. I don't know, but no, but like I don't know, honestly. I think at the same, I will say the reaction that the images have, or maybe the mass market reaction, is a lot more negative if this was an intentional sort of thing. I don't know. I feel people are more excited about the Pico 4 than this supposed Stinson or Quest 3, which is, we can talk all about that, but I was actually pretty shocked about that. So if this was an intentional leak, maybe they shot themselves in the foot. But again, I really don't feel that way. There's more in the background behind this stuff that I can't talk about, but I really don't think it's like that.
No, well, I hope you're right. I've personally known other people who are in a similar situation to you, who have been in the position to leak things out and cause a stir at some of these big companies, and then some really strange leaks came out, in a relatively short time thereafter. That's kind of the whole reason that kind of put me down that mindset. But let's talk about what's actually in this thing here, or again, what's not. Eye tracking notoriously missing from this, and I kind of, you kind of speculated in your video when you were talking about this that maybe the reason that they're leaving the eye tracking out isn't so much cost related, but there's a maximum number of cameras that the XR2 can handle. Does that mean that you think that this headset is going to sport yet again the XR2?
So this is something that got people very confused, and I blame Qualcomm for this. Even though they haven't announced the new chip, but they've been kind of hinting to how they're going to name their XR2 generations from now on. And I think it's a terrible, terrible naming scheme. I don't know why they're trying to copy the USB naming scheme, which is also very confusing for normal customers. But the way that Qualcomm is from now on going to be naming all their XR chips is they're going to be like XR2 Gen 1 or XR2 Gen 2. And with Quest Pro, I've been saying that they're using like an edited XR2 Gen 1 sort of. With the upcoming next year's Quest, that Gen 2 that I said will actually be like a brand new chip, like actually a new node. I've been hearing what it's going to be based on, but I can't talk about it yet. It's actually, it impressed me. I'll say that. An actual, if there was an XR3, if they decided to go with the XR3 naming scheme, the next year's chip would be sort of what the XR3 people's minds are. But because the naming scheme and the marketing stuff is so terrible at Qualcomm, it's going to be called XR2 in some manner.
So they're going to call it XR2, but it's going to be more than them just moving the RAM off the package, right?
Yeah, I would like to. I guess if so, for future videos, I'm never gonna call the chips inside of these things like XR2. I'm gonna call them by their developer name. Quest 3 is called, the chip in Quest 3 and Pico 4 is called SXR 2130p. The chip that's supposed to be in Quest Pro is called SXR 2150p, and the chip for next year will be called SXR 2230p. And that's like a whole, there's a whole second number difference, so there's like a whole generation difference.
This is not going to be confusing at all.
Not at all.
Way less confusing. Way less, I swear to God, way less confusing than Qualcomm's own thing. Because whenever I say XR3 in a title, then I get a lot of people in the industry they're all like, oh, it's like we called XR3, Brad, you idiot. I'm like, yeah, but people don't get it, whatever. But yeah, new chip.
Eric, you've been in Florida for a week, much like our friend Brad here. Did you catch the leak when Brad let it loose last week?
Of course, I get every alert when Brad does anything. I know.
What did you think about this? Because I found it strange. My reaction was like many other people. Like, I've always just kind of taken it for granted that this headset's coming in October next year. That's when they launch headsets. But it seems a bit strange to me that, this is not a next-gen headset by what we can see from these current CAD images. Now, of course, some small iterations can still be made and still, hit that kind of time frame. But were you as surprised as I was, Eric, that basically this looks like what Pico is about to launch right now?
Yeah, I was surprised. We all wanted it to be a little bit more, I think, than what it is. But we know we want to keep the cost down, so we know these things are expensive. I came away with two things. Number one, I don't think this is the case, and I think Brad doesn't think this is the case either. But it did have the original thought was maybe we're going to hear about this Quest 3 at Connect on October 11th, and maybe it's going to come in the spring to compete with when Sony launches their PSVR 2. That was my initial thought. I don't think that's probably the case. I don't think Brad thinks that's the case either, but I did have that thought in my head that that's a possibility. Why couldn't they show 2 headsets at Connect on October 11th, and why couldn't they just, if they could ramp it up, why couldn't they launch it in spring? And then the other thing I thought was, if Meta is doing this because it's a cost issue, and that's a possibility, if it is, do we really think this PSVR 2 is still going to be $400 or $399 if they have eye tracking and all these things that Meta probably can't do? So that put another thought in my head that, man, I really don't think this is going to be a $300 or $400 PSVR 2 headset. So those were my first original thoughts when I was listening to Brad.
Well, that aside, and I don't want to get off on that whole tangent again about the PSVR pricing, or else we'll be here another hour. But yeah, it really just depends on how much Meta wants to subsidize. But what do you think about that, Brad? About the idea that maybe this isn't going to be a year away. Maybe this is something that we're going to see in April, let's say.
Last I was told from very good sources that have been right about everything, is they were targeting Connect 2023 for this thing to release, which is obviously later in the year. And I asked my sources after getting these CADs, I was like, wow, this is crazy, the timing. Has that timeline changed? And they didn't report that there was any new info on that. So I do think we're still looking at something deeper in the next year for now. The one thing I do want to speculate a little bit, and I don't want to talk too much about this yet. I'm still working on gathering more info, but so Snapdragon Summit is in November of this year, and in previous, if I remember correctly, the XR2 was announced at a Snapdragon Summit months before the Quest 2 was announced. And if they're really going to have a new chip in Quest 3, I think we're going to hear a lot about it later this year after Connect. So that's something I do want people to kind of look into a little bit.
So do you think, so when I look at this as a layman, I'm obviously not as versed in these kind of technical details about hardware as you are, but when I look at this headset and what they're showing right now, I'm looking at a bunch of stuff that's already on current gen hardware from other sources, and I try to think a year out from now what the environment's going to be like, and I got to think that eye tracking is going to become more and more the norm, color pass through is going to become more and more the norm, and I think if this headset, this Quest 3, turns out to be what it seems like it seems like it's going to be a bit less than. So I asked myself, how are they going to sell this to consumers? Is it going to be just, an awesome value proposition, a super cheap price like it was before? Or is it going to be awesome software that's driving the value proposition? Or, Brad, are there features that this headset's going to have that we haven't quite heard about yet?
I think people are I think people right now are underestimating mixed reality and how that a good mixed reality headset is going to be expensive for most people in the first the next 6 months. Quest Pro obviously has a big mixed reality aspect to it, and everyone's saying the Apple headset is going to have very good mixed reality features, right? And that thing's slated to be over $2,000. So if you think about it from the perspective of Meta, where so Quest Pro is for the prosumer, sometimes enterprise. It's very expensive. They don't expect that many people to adopt it and pick it up and buy it for mixed reality. but they can do that for the Quest 3 for mixed reality. Like the Quest 2 has really pushed VR adoption and VR developers to create VR software. And when all these features and people start seeing all these high-end headsets that are over $2,000 show off the cool mixed reality aspects, that every large company believes AR is going to be bigger than VR. Whether it's so impossible for the optical glasses AR right now. I think Meta realizes, let's make something affordable that's focused on the mixed reality thing. Get a developer market going. Make the consumer market adopt mixed reality, so they don't have to. They're gonna undercut all these companies trying to make mixed reality devices by a lot, and I think from that perspective, I think they're going to be very successful. Honestly, uh,
That makes sense because
yeah,
so you have the end goal. They all have the same end goal of awesome consumer grade AR down the line, and that has been everybody's goal for the last few years. But they're kind of now realizing that the finish line is a little bit further away on that than they had initially anticipated. So they push that back. They kind of have this intermediate period where they refine the VR technology such that it's capable of mixed reality, and they start to prep the consumer base for what comes next. So that makes a lot of sense. And then all they have to do is then follow the Quest 2 model, right? You offer
yeah.
comparable features to the competition at a much lesser price, and people are going to buy in. At Roots, is that enough for you? I mean, if you get a super comfortable headset that's affordable and has awesome mixed reality applications, are you buying in on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it because I'm not gonna buy the Pro. It's too expensive. I'm not gonna buy the Chinese version or the Pico. Actually, I can't. But even if I could, I wouldn't. So this is my option, and I think it's it's smart. I think this kind of tells me that Meta believes eye tracking overall is further away than we believe it is. And even though it's coming in the PlayStation VR 2, but you got to cut costs somehow. And the adoptability in all these games are going to have to start putting it in there, and devs, it's going to take a couple of years before it becomes a really big feature. So it's not really needed in this generation. It's nice. It's cool. I know Sony's going to use it. I just don't. I think it's actually smart that they're not putting it in there. And
It's
somebody
other,
said in the chat, it gives something, the difference between the Pro and the Quest 3. There's got to be a difference, right? So
right, and it actually it's really smart that Meta's kind of leaning into what makes their product special, the mobility, right? So Sony's going to have this awesome platform for gamers that puts you in these very big budget AAA experiences. But what is it that Sony can't do? Well, it can't let you leave your room. You have to stay in there, and if you want to do any kind of MR, it's going to be, albeit high definition, it's going to be in black and white. So Meta exploits that. They say, hey, you don't have to keep this thing in one room. You can take it with you. And guess what? Instead of being locked into this digital world, the whole world is your playground now, and we can superimpose the digital world on top of it. I think it's pretty smart.
Brad, do you think because their pass through is better than we thought it was? Because we all saw that video, right, with Zuckerberg and doing the fencing, and I know I was way more impressed with it than I thought they were going to be, because they were doing the black and white pass through covered over with a color pass through, right? And we didn't think it was going to be that good. And I think I remember you saying you were actually impressed with it too, right? The video and how good it looked. Do you think that allowed them to say we don't have to do the eye tracking in this. We can focus on how good our mixed reality is going to be and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think again, I know why people are so disappointed by the lack of eye tracking, like, especially if you're gamers. But I really don't think Meta cares that much for gaming. Honestly, I think they're trying to be an all-around device. I think everyone, even Pico, is trying to be an all-around device at some point, and that includes fitness and like all these. I mean, productivity is one of those things, but more for the higher end. But yeah, I remember they showed off earlier this year a demo of their AR. with Quest Pro, and it looked notably kind of bad with the color overlay. I remember going through that frame by frame actually and being like, "Ooh, that looks rough." And with the recent one, you can see over the couple months their software has improved a lot for that the whole pass-through stuff. So I'm a lot more impressed than I was. I had my doubts on the way they're doing this because of that earlier demo video with like the pet, like that weird pet experience, ugly animal thing.
Yeah.
and I do think that's how these things are going to improve over time, because the Quest 2 features, when they released the Quest 2, it had so little features at the beginning compared to what it has now. I feel when they start adding these depth sensors and mixed reality stuff, that also is going to improve a lot over time. One more thing I want to mention about the depth sensor, I think that no one has touched on, and I should have touched on it in my video. I'm planning to do like a follow-up a little bit to talk more about these things. But one thing that people told me about the depth sensor that they're putting in Quest Pro is it's going to allow even more accurate hand tracking than what the Quest 2 is capable of, with the dot projector and stuff. So if they bring that to the Quest 3, that means it will get that too. It'll get even more higher fidelity stuff, so people will be able to do the actual hand tracking mixed reality stuff, which I think hand tracking in AR applications go way better personally than VR and hand tracking applications. So I don't think I think if they go with this device plan, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Honestly, I think it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I can give you multiple reasons why they're doing that. Obviously, when it comes to sorry,
There's something wrong with your source, Wes. For whatever reason, the chat, I couldn't see you, but they're saying they can't hear you either. I don't know if what the deal is with that. It just changed like maybe a minute ago or something. All of a sudden your camera disappeared. I didn't see that it was the audio as well. Yeah, refresh it or something. I don't know what the deal is. It's so weird. Yeah, there's got to be some kind of technical issues. I blame Eric.
Artful says Todd must be in chat. It's too funny.
So we can come back. We can go to audio if it's an issue, if we can't get your audio back in. And yeah.
Oh, you couldn't hear me for 30 seconds either? That's weird.
Really?
What was the last thing you guys heard from me? My big fat mouth. Chat?
Oh yeah, no, dude, they saw it. They were like, we gotta get Wes off the screen.
Paradise Decay says push the button that says green button that says on. No way. Yeah, I don't. Here, let me just create a new source because it's wanting to be a jerk. I guess Eric and Brad can talk about something while we're.
Well, I mean, we can continue on Wes's thought there. Brad was he was talking about how convoluted the front of the Quest 3 is going to look, and why not just go with the color cameras, and why do this black and white pass through with a color overlay trick.
Yeah, so I think the reason is color cameras, especially high resolution color cameras, cannot run at super high frame rates that you need for tracking things very quickly. Black and white cameras can be lower resolution, and also you can bump the refresh rate up to like 240 hertz usually. And that's the main reason why they do this weird thing, is just they want more headroom to have more accurate fast tracking that is required for fingers, hands, controllers, and everything. Yeah, when it comes from them, I think it makes total sense. Also with IR projectors, like the stuff that the depth sensor also does, like an IR projection, like a dot projection, and you need IR cameras to see that dot projection. So again, you can't use color cameras in that situation.
Okay, are we back now, Roots? Is my audio back at least?
Yep, you're back. I just got to move you back in the spot. I guess that particular thing just said, you know what, fuck you, I'm done, and so we had to create a new one.
It said no eye tracking. Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Brad, one more thing I wanted to talk to you about before we move on. At the end of your video, you talked a little bit about something that has interested me for some time, and it's starting to become more and more obvious here that Meta is making a pretty safe long-term bet, the same bet that Microsoft has been making for a good many years now, and that is they are betting on cloud technology to provide capability to their devices that is unlike anything we've seen up until this point. How much of a role do you think that cloud streaming is going to play in the Quest 3 generation?
I think there's still going to be. I think we're not going to. I think 2024 is when the rollout will be more serious for the cloud stuff. I think we're going to start like. I wouldn't be surprised if they start talking about it actually at Connect this year, but purely on like an experimental basis.
Abrash will talk about it.
Yeah, if he shows up, he don't even show up for most things anymore. It feels like, but yeah, I mean, it is clearly something that they're putting a lot of investment in. I still think there's a lot of steps to be done to get it to the point that they want it, and that's why even the timeline that I was given is pretty safe, to be honest. Like they don't want to open it up to like even a more public testing until mid next year, sort of.
But they are running a test this month, right, with the major wireless carriers across the U.S. Running Lone Echo and some other high end stuff through the air.
They're definitely doing like very internal tests and like some outward stuff. In fact, the latest public test channel, they did add more stuff to activate certain users to be able to test the cloud stuff, because I don't know if you guys remember months ago, some random person accidentally got access to it and was able to start up some of that stuff. But now there's actually in the software or the upcoming software stuff in place to activate people who should be accessing that. So yeah, it's just been a slow crawl. They are expanding it out, but I think they're still road mapping things. Like they're still doing these tests purely to create a multi-year roadmap. They're not like testing it for a wide public release, if that makes sense.
The roadmap, so. the journey to avatars with legs.
Right.
Right.
Well, you know, that is, I think, one of the biggest things they want from the cloud stuff is and I kind of mentioned this in my video, is rendering those codec avatars is a freaking nightmare. Like honestly, not even just. No, you also have to capture your face with the high fidelity cameras. I don't even know how they're gonna do that, but just rendering those super realistic versions of you, and that's we're usually talking about one avatar. If you want multiple people in the same room with those super realistic avatars, you're gonna need something like cloud gaming to be able to render all that with like high frame rates. So I think that's gonna be a big focus of cloud VR first, because I'm not too convinced that this super fast-paced VR stuff is really where the money is for the cloud. I think I don't know. I speculate it's going to be like enterprise focus or like prosumer focus at the beginning, and then when they build out the cloud stuff to be a lower latency and faster is when they'll be more notable for gamers. But it is definitely a huge focus for them right now, I think.
So you think the cloud feature will be rolled out in the Pro line before it sees consumer use?
I don't know, to be honest. I just think it's so like everything I've been told, it just still sounds like it's really early. Even though like they keep working on it and they keep making these under table partnerships and stuff, I'm just not convinced it's gonna happen next year. Like it's not gonna be like everyone can access this next year, right? I really don't feel that's the case right now. So
Well,
I don't even know if Meta knows like the timing of the major rollout still, and that's what I'm kind of trying to communicate with my video, is that they are road mapping these things because they're not sure what areas are like, they're not sure the quality of the cloud for different areas, and that's why they're starting to do these internal tests across the country.
right. Well, one thing that keeps coming up or crossing my mind is the kind of the generation cycle with Quest. So we had Quest 1 come out, but it was very much a half step and a short generation. And then it was iterated upon very quickly, and then we got Quest 2. I'm wondering if we could see the same thing here. So we get the Quest 3, which is a step forward in some ways, but again, missing some features. And then you have this cloud technology looming overhead that they're trying to develop as quickly as possible. I'm wondering if maybe we get Quest 3 next year, and then Quest 4 just a year later with eye tracking, with potentially some cloud functionality as well.
They would never release them that quick. Oh wait, they did that with 1 and 2, right? So,
Right.
Yeah, very possible.
Plus you've got this pressure, right, from Pico and everyone else who's going to be jumping into the circle. We have to remember that it's not the same as it always has been anymore. Meta's been able to very much operate in their own sandbox up until now. Now the money's getting in, and people are going to kind of push the industry forward, and that might force Meta to accelerate some things that they would have previously liked to have taken their time with.
Yeah. So I think so just to recap, they're in summer of this year, the information, they leaked a internal Meta roadmap of planned devices for the Quest line. This year was I don't know if they said it was Arcata. Arcata is another name for Cambria. Next year was Stinson, which was the code name of the device I showed off for next year. And then in 2024, there were 2 devices that they were at that time looking to actually launch as well. One was named Cardiff, which was supposed to be in the more consumer Quest line, which is very weird because 2023 also is supposed to have a Quest line. And then there was Funson, which was supposed to be the successor to the Quest Pro that's coming this year. So yeah, I still don't have information yet on that Cardiff and like what it means. I saw a lot of people speculating that it maybe will be like a midline device at some point, like between the Quest Pro and the Quest 3 or whatever, like a Quest 3 Plus. But I don't know yet. The funny thing is whenever I release it,
Sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. It's a joke. It was a joke.
Yeah, no. But what's funny is whenever I launch a huge leak like this, my network of sources become like bees. Like they all message me at once, and like becomes like a crazy fest of things. So I get to like learn new things and like all this stuff. And like, these companies plan these things years in advance, and like I'm already hearing about Pico 5 plans and stuff just from this leak. So I don't think we'll have to wait too long to find out what Meta's plans are. We just gotta be a little more patient. I'll figure it out, everyone. I'll figure it out.
How crazy is it, Brad, that you've managed to put yourself in this position basically just by educating yourself in something that a lot of people would find boring, and just taking an interest in this sort of supply chain and data mining information and just sharing it with people. You're kind of the guy now. There's one guy, and it's you, and it's all just basically come from your interest, your dedication to your own personal interest.
I'm very thankful that I'm in this position. That's like the one thing I wish I could always stress, especially to like, the sources I talk to and give me this reliable information, and they're the ones I really wish that I could be like, thank you all the time to, because they're what they're doing for me is thankless, like they do this stuff, and I'm so thankful that they do this for me. But at the same time, if we're gonna talk about how I feel about myself in this position I put myself in, I have noticed recently a positive change. I used to not be able to go on Reddit because uh, if a leak of mine was mentioned on Reddit, it would just become a dumpster fire of like mean things about me. So I would like quit going on Reddit because it's just so sad, putting all this work into it, and then people saying, "Oh, he's lying and doing this for clicks or whatever," even though doing this has actually burnt more bridges with companies that would help out my channel more than actually boost my channel. But I started seeing a change even on Reddit where people are starting to like trust me and stuff, and like believe that my sources are legit because they've been doing very well the past, like I would especially say the past 9 months. That it's felt very good, and I'm very happy because of that. Like I there were times where like I was so down about like being wrong about some things, like especially last year, and like I had to make a decision whether I just stopped doing this or like try to redeem myself, and I chose to redeem myself route, and it's really been yeah, I'm again thankful to my reliable network that I built up to allow me to redeem myself and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? The invisible men who basically allow you to step up and take all the credit and glory, but you're actually just a mouthpiece for a network of people who work within the industry who are enthusiastic about their work, but absolutely hate the fact that they can't talk about it to anyone. And you get to take advantage of that. So you're that one guy they can talk to, right?
Yeah, again, I do. I mean, I don't take it for granted. It's fun. It's still very fun for me. Like I love talking about this stuff. Like my videos are 20 minutes or longer because I literally can't stop talking about it. It's just like my love for just picking apart these small features and what it means for the industry, what it means for this company, and like what they believe will take off, and whether I agree or not. Or actually, the most fun thing about this is not really like the comments on my videos. I like to, every time I release a big thing like this, I actually watch every single repost or like video, because you know every YouTuber wants to re-report my stuff, and I love that. By the way, I'm glad they do it. It's because I get to go on there and I get to read all the comments, and all the opinions of the overall community, and I find that really interesting. Like this one was really interesting because people were like, "Oh my god, this thing sucks," and I was really shocked. Honestly, I was like, "Wow, this is very interesting. I wonder how these people are gonna feel in a year when like they start seeing mixed reality software and stuff, and like maybe see a Pokemon Go on the Quest 3 or something. You know, like I'm very curious of that."
Yeah,
But yeah,
I've seen a lot of panic in the space over the last week. I will say though that Sebastian MRTV did some good coverage of it this week and hit it from some interesting angles. So shout out to Sebastian.
Yeah. Yep. I'm always very happy when people like people are always asking me, "Are you mad that all these YouTubers are like re-reporting your stuff and like taking views away from my video?" I'm like, "No, not really. I really don't mind that. Like I don't really do this for. I don't make much money. You know, it's really fun for me." So.
Right.
There's one thing before we go on to any more topics. I really do want to mention one thing about the Quest 3. If we can go back to like
Sure.
the design stuff. One thing that I saw a lot of people complain about, and I totally get it, is like the soft strap.
Oh yeah.
There is one thing that I think people should think about a little bit, and that is the ecosystem of accessories and third parties that have allowed the Quest 2 to become sort of modular in a way and make it your own. And the way that they're kind of structuring the USB-C port and the
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that. That is super weird that they're putting these super delicate connection points on a movable or what typically would be a flexible part of the housing. That seems super sus, to say the least.
I think it's actually really cool because Samulia first brought this up to me, and I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. So you know how like every strap that has built-in headphones or even like battery banks, they always have to have like cords running off of it, and like it looks really ugly and like maybe just I don't know. By doing this, I feel like third-party manufacturers and even Meta themselves can have more integrated, interesting strap designs that literally like once you snap on the strap, it'll just be all in one. You won't have like any wires coming off or anything. So I think it's really I don't know. I think it makes sense once I heard that why they may not be doing it. I don't really think it's gonna have failure issues. I don't think that part's actually gonna rotate with the thing. I think maybe everything else will around it. But yeah, that's something one people think about is like third party create people can make their straps look even more cleaner because of the positioning and probably not even have wires sticking out.
They will,
Yeah.
man. They're so good. I mean, there's some of them out there are so good. I'm sure they're going to have all kinds of different ideas. I mean, look at somebody like Bobo or Kiwi. They'll have something that'll work with it. Do you think the strap will be removable over the USB-C port, or it'll just be permanent?
Wait, sorry. The soft strap?
Yeah, the cloth strap. Is it removable?
No, yeah.
So you can just take it off then.
I really think it's gonna be removable.
So you don't think that will?
I think
It
literally
snaps
gonna be the
over
same
that.
as this.
It snaps
Yeah, it's
around that thing.
I think it's gonna be
however
literally the
thick
same as
the
this.
cloth is, that will be exposed of the USB port then, right?
Yeah, I think it's literally gonna be like this, except they're gonna have actual holes here, and like again, strap developers might decide. I even think Meta is gonna release their own better elite straps that have like ports built into the actual thing that connects, so it would be like snaps right in, and like that's the way I think they're doing it, honestly.
And by the way, anyone out there who wants to complain about this thing still having the cloth strap, just imagine for a second if the Quest 2, instead of having that cloth strap, had the Elite strap come with it. Then everybody's headsets end up breaking within 3 months. What a clusterfuck of a nightmare would that would have been.
It's good too because it's cheap for Meta, so they can release it cheaper, and it leaves the market for all these Bobo VRs, all these amazing companies that have been working with the Meta or working with their headsets for the last couple of years. Keep doing what they're doing. You know, if you comes with a really good strap, you're not going to replace it. You're not going to get the Bobo VR, right? So that's good for these companies.
Here's what it does, though. It doesn't get rid of the issue that we had before, which is that the battery has to still now be in the front of the headset, where the Cambria now has the battery in the back of the headset, and we think it's going to be a much lighter headset in the front, more well balanced.
Yeah.
We're going back to that now. This is definitely going to be a smaller headset, as we can see in the CAD images. But I mean, weight is still an issue. It's going to continue to be an issue until we get these headsets that are as light as like ski goggles, and we're not there yet. So we're still putting weight back in the front of this headset. So for me, I don't know where I am yet now. Until I put a Cambria on my head and feel exactly what that's like to not have the battery up there, I don't know which one I'm going to like better.
So there is one thing I want to mention about battery. So I think the weight distribution on the Quest 2 is god awful because
It's because of the lenses, right? It pushes the battery weight so far away from the base that it creates rotation torque on your face.
Yeah, exactly. So people didn't see in the CAD images, but where the battery is located on every Quest 2 it's the first thing right behind the display in the lens cup. So pancake lenses are probably like maybe half as thick as the lenses that are in Quest 2. So even though batteries are like one of the heaviest parts of a headset, it will be much closer to your face. And if you did buy a battery strap for a Quest 3, you would technically have way more power to use than even the Pico 4, which only has the battery in the back. So, you know, there's pro and cons to designs, but I think Meta wants to make money on accessories to upgrade it. And I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I'm really against the soft strap, and I think it's terrible on the Quest 2, and that's because of the design of the Quest 2. But at the same time, I know why Meta wants to do this, and I think their reasons for doing it will turn out well in some ways.
Yeah, the more modular you can make it, the more affordable you can make the base model, right? And then you can create a whole secondary market for accessories and make up some of your subsidy through accessory sales, right?
And again, wait. Don't look at when you look at spec sheets and you see weights of headsets for the most part in the next year. That's a very deceiving number. It's all about balance and yeah, pancake lenses will make things look feel a lot better because it's just closer to your head. So trust me on that one.
I do, and I'm very much looking forward to getting some official information from Meta regarding the next consumer product. Maybe in just a few weeks at Connect we'll see a box on a table that they never open.
Please don't do that again.
I was just thinking, for a company that wants to sell all these aftermarket things, they make such shit stuff that nobody wants to buy. I mean, they align themselves with yeah, the Elite Strap was terrible.
Horrible.
They align themselves with Logitech. You know, Logitech's got a pretty good name, but all the stuff they make for the freaking Quest is kind of garbage. You know, these new headphones they just came out with, people hate them.
They need to partner with Bobo VR. Is what
exactly. That's who they need to get it with. I know.
I'm so glad you brought this up because that's one thing I wanted to bring up that I almost forgot is Meta recently has been pushing the Made for Meta. It's sort of like a licensing thing where the most recent things that were put for this was I guess there was, I think, yeah, 2 of them I know for sure, but maybe 3. So the VR Air Bridge is under that Made for Meta branding. So like anytime you go to next month, if you go to the Meta brick and mortar sections, you're gonna see those air bridges there with like all the Elite straps and stuff. Another one is like these new earbuds that I think Anchor is releasing. That's for the Made for Meta. So again, I don't think Meta cares. I mean, maybe they'll make their own better stuff for Quest 3 or like whatever headset, but I think they want to create an ecosystem of licensed
licensing fees, right? They don't have to make it.
You know how much Apple makes from their made for iPhone stuff? It's actually ridiculous. So I think they're trying to do that as well.
Yeah.
That's smart. It's actually really smart.
PSVR 2 is not made for Meta. Paradise Decay says. Absolutely.
No.
That is true. Anyway, Brad, I know that your time is limited. You got other stuff going on, but if I could sway you to hang around a few more minutes, maybe we could talk a little displays.
Yes, please, let's do it. Let's go.
Brad's eyes lit up as soon as you said display.
Anyway, we've got this article here. This is future Apple. Hold on, son of a bitch, always with the cookies. Give me a break. Future Apple headset to get Pixel upgrade per report. Apple's first XR headset is not even on the market yet, let alone officially announced, and yet there are already numerous reports from the supply chain about possible follow-up devices. They originate from Apple's supply chain, specifically from display manufacturers and their suppliers. In the summer, display technology specialist website The Elic reported that LG Display and Samsung Display were preparing to manufacture micro OLED panels for a new Apple headset. The main display for Apple's first headset is still expected to come from Sony. Now, the Elic again reports that Apple is requiring displays to be manufactured at 3,500 pixels per inch. Previously, it was said that the requirement was 2,800 pixels per inch. The screen is said to be intended for future Apple headsets. LG and Samsung are expected to deliver micro OLEDs optimized for VR and AR starting in 2024, which are more efficient, brighter, and faster compared to traditional OLED. The screens are tiny, typically less than an inch, so manufacturers could build more compact XR headsets. The lenses in the headset might magnify the image. Well, they obviously will magnify the image. Meta is also said to have requested micro OLED from Samsung for Quest 3. What? For Quest 3, the Elic reports.
Quest Pro 2, I think.
Pro 2? Yeah, that's probably more likely, right?
Yeah.
Sony and LG are said to be supplying a display combination for Apple's first headset. Now, this is one of the things I want to ask you about because this is seems to contradict some things I've read elsewhere and it's a little confusing to me. So
Yeah.
it says Sony and LG are said to be supplying a display combination for Apple's first headset. According to earlier reports, Sony will supply the high resolution micro OLED for the center of the display, while an LG OLED display will fill the peripheral field of view. So this is an approach that I think was it Vario that did something similar to this, where they have actually two different screens, a really pixel dense display in the center, and then another one around the outside. Now this is saying that this is going to be part of Apple's first headset. Are they talking about maybe a future first like AR device, or are they talking about the one that we're going to get next year?
So I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I follow these OLED micro display reports like as if I was in a cult and reading the Bible or something. So yeah, a lot of these reporters are they're very good at understanding the display market, but because OLED on silicon OLED micro displays are so new, and they're not a lot of these news websites also don't follow what is good for VR or what is necessary for VR headsets. They get a lot of things confused, and this is like they do give good information, but there's some things I want to fix in this report.
Please.
Yes. So first of all, I do not believe that Apple is going to be doing the Vario thing at all. And there's multiple reasons why I believe this. First of all, if you scroll up and mention the 2800 pixels per inch number, and everyone's saying they're going to have a 4K per eye display, a 2800 pixels per inch for a 4K display would be about a 2-inch display, which is pretty large for an OLED micro display. In fact, it almost meets the specs exactly of that one display I like kind of obsessed about for the past year that I believe Valve also has a hand with. Very interesting. Anyway, and they also say that a display for a VR headset would be smaller than 1 inch. For an AR glasses, that's true, but for VR displays, that's too freaking tiny. If you wanted to have like a 1-inch display, be 4K per eye and 4K in both directions, you would literally have to have 4,000 pixels per inch, and that's probably a little bit more than that actually. So they're confusing all these things about OLED on silicon, these journalists, and the truth is, I think what they're actually doing is the other report that LG might be supporting a display that points on the outside for like for outside viewers to see what some things are going on with the user. Weird choice, but that's been reported multiple times by more legitimate journalists, and I do believe they're going to have pretty large OLED on silicon displays on the inside. If you've ever heard of the Steamboat display that was reported on around summer this year, Upload VR did articles and stuff about it. I think we're going to see something more like that on the inside and the reason why they're bumping up the PPI for the next generation OLED on silicon is because these optics are getting better. You don't want tiny pixel sizes because the optics actually get harder to make and more expensive to make, even with these pancake displays. So the first time around, they're probably going to target around the same 4K per eye for the second generation, but because the optics are getting better and more efficient, they will be able to make the pixel sizes smaller and have smaller displays, which also means cheaper displays because the smaller you make an OLED on silicon display, the cheaper it usually gets, and you don't have to stitch it on this stuff. So, yeah, I believe a lot of these things. I believe what they're saying. I do believe that Apple requested a 2800 pixels per inch display for their first gen device. I totally believe that. I also do believe that they're now requesting a 3500 pixels per inch display for their second gen. All of those things make sense to what they're doing. One final thing I want to note is the really amazing thing is I had a supply chain. Was it supply chain? I had a source that literally told me that Apple is looking at making a second generation device, but that is more cheaper than their Pro Series device for the second gen. And I didn't report it, and I really regret it because I was like, Apple leaks are a little. I don't want to touch Apple leaks yet, but I regret not reporting it because a month later, Ming-Chi Kuo reported the same thing. So I actually got information about this thing like a month beforehand. It drives me nuts I didn't report it, but I do believe all these things are happening. Yes.
So there's an S model coming then for the Apple device.
It sounds like there's gonna be a high end and like a lesser higher end. Yeah, for the second. Like
I'm more
2024.
confused now about Apple than ever before. I don't know
Right.
because I didn't care about it before. I'm like, you know what? I'm not buying it. It's going to be way too much money, and I really don't care about it. I'm not in that Apple ecosystem, so I could care less. And then this came out, and I was reading the article. I'm like, piqued my interest. Now I'm interested. Now I'm like, okay, I'm back. And now I'm like, I don't even know.
He's out again.
Do I even care? I don't think I even care. Brad, do you care?
I care a lot. I think this device is gonna. I really like. It's gonna be so expensive, but I think it's going to be exactly what this medium needs. And you know, we were talking about Quest 3 being a mixed reality device. This thing is gonna be mixed reality focused, and it's gonna blow people's minds. The people that can try it, even though it's so expensive. So, and I do believe this device coming out next year is why Quest 3 is a mixed reality device, because again, like, there's going to be so much focus on the mixed reality stuff. Even though we are all VR people, all of that interest in mixed reality, a mixed reality device is still a VR device. So it's going to be so good. And it's also going to make all these other competitors like Pico and Meta and all these companies want to use displays that aren't garbage liquid crystal technology that drive me insane.
Thank God.
So, like, whether or not you care about the Apple device for you, it's going to do so much good for the supply chain and like competition, and like it's going to boost all of us. I'm so excited for just that reason.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that really excite me about it, and it's not really about what the product's going to do for the market so much as the technology. You know, micro OLED up until now has very much just been a prototype thing that hasn't really been proven out to a mass production level yet. And the first, you know, if Apple's actually able to do that on any level, you know, even at a low number for super high end users, still just having a micro OLED display on the market in a product is going to be huge for what happens the next gen for you know, Facebook, for Valve, for everyone. So that's really what interests me about it.
Well, the funny thing is, like, so I want to use pancake lenses. How, like, you know, everyone's trying out Pico 4, which is probably the first mass market pancake device, and you just hear glowing reviews for those lenses, right? I'm so glad I backed that horse and like started spamming about it on my channel a year ago. But like, honestly, pancake lenses have been another thing similar to micro OLED since like 2016. Like, all these companies knew pancake was gonna be eventually a thing for VR. It was just getting the processes and the manufacturing for it. We're at the point now for pancake where like every supplier, every headset can start using it, even in cheaper devices, and it's like benefiting the form factor and making adoption even better because of the comfort. And I think micro OLED is, I think it's in the same boat. I think it's just a little bit behind pancake, but it's neck and neck. I think it's feel like neck and neck. So yeah, it's just so exciting to be in hardware, especially when you like research this stuff and you see the patterns and you're like, God, finally get this crap out there. I need it. Get in my face.
I gotta imagine it's a particularly gratifying time for you because you've been reporting on this stuff for years now, and it's just now finally starting to get to the point where these products you've been speculating about are about to hit the market, and you're actually going to get some real validation more than just a guy who speculates, right?
I think more about these companies like Meta and Valve, even like they probably had these lenses and displays in their offices for so many years, like prototypes with it, and it's only now that they can start mass producing it. I bet they feel way more happy because they know it's gonna spur adoption of their hardware than anything. So I think they're more happy than I am. But for me, like, I'm just happy because I think I know software gets people to buy stuff and like use it more, but I really do think VR is still in the place where hardware is going to push the adoption more, and yeah, I always have a different opinion for that. So
I can't wait. I can't wait for these magical mixed reality experiences, Roots, where we start off sitting in our bedroom and end up on Mars in about a 30-second span of time with spiders jumping at our face.
I just think it's gonna be cool. I've said before, like you see some thread and you pull it and like it just starts to ravel and something opens up and like the ideas of what you could do with it. And what I'm really curious about, because Brad brought up Pokemon Go, and I thought the same thing. Do you think it's possible that they make these to where you could take them outside? You know, like, because right now our technology, we can't do that, and that would be another thing that would make this Quest 3, or I guess the Quest Pro, or any of them, that more appealing to me for this type of technology. So
Yeah, well, speak on that a little bit, Brad. So, like, we're at a space right now where our standalone units, while there are some limited applications outdoors for them, they largely recommend that you keep them inside. But the end goal is, you know, glasses that you're going to be able to take anywhere. Is there any kind of do you have any kind of insight into how they plan to modify the tracking systems on these things to make them more versatile with regards to outdoor use? No.
It's still a hard problem. Like it's hard problem for VR, but it's like a million times harder for optical AR. I do think I think they're going the right directions with some ways and being able to bring out, like, I do think it might be possible to bring out even Quest Pros outside in some varying levels of sunlight, but it is a hard problem. I really do think it's a difficult nut to crack. And
It's interesting that they didn't list that, you know, when Meta did their whole breakdown a month or two ago with all the different hurdles there are between where we are and where we need to get. They never mentioned, you know, the mobility of the tracking system. That's
one technology I think people should keep an eye on if they ever see articles is called event-based cameras. I won't go into it right now, but it's a camera that it'll be good for eye tracking too. But basically every camera that works right now is it captures the entire frame of an image and then like updates it every 1 hertz. Event cameras only can capture moving objects or moving edges, which allows them to like go up to 10,000 hertz tracking, and they don't have to really. They're not as limited about like exposure and all this stuff that normal black and white or color cameras will do. So yeah, keep an ear and eye on event-based cameras. I think it's going to be very big once they get the cost to make those down. So,
Eric, do you know who loves using event-based cameras?
My mom.
Oh.
With a wide angle lens.
Exactly, super wide. Anyway, Brad, thanks for being here, man. It's always very enlightening and a lot of fun when you join us and get us out of our comfort zone. You know, we're typically all about the games and the software, but whenever there's something interesting hardware related, first of all, it typically is coming from you in the first place, but it's always nice to get you in here to iterate upon it a little bit. So very much appreciate you taking your time out to join us today.
No, thank you for giving me a platform to overwhelm you. No, sorry. No, but I love talking about this stuff. I love also, again, I get more thrill out of hearing just different people react to what's going on, because again, there's so many technologies that are just, people know what they want to put in these headsets. It's just getting them mass produced and stuff, and it's fun to hear the reactions of people that get more excited because they don't have the time to look into the white papers and like what these companies really want. So
that's what you're there for. Chat was making a comment too, Brad, when Wes was reading it. Somebody was saying just how you were lighting up just from hearing Wes read the article. That just shows you how much passion you have for this, which is why you are the man, right? So
I love it. I really do love it. Yeah, it's so much fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Brad, you got anything else for? I'm sorry, Eric. You got anything else for Brad?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I'm glad Brad got a chance to do it because no crew cast tomorrow, so he can't do anything there. So
Yeah.
we get to do it here instead. So I love when Brad's on. It makes me smarter just being in the same videos. And-
Absolutely.
Yeah, unfortunately, our fearless leader, Gamertag VR, has some previous or prior things that he has to attend to tomorrow. So there will be no crewcast tomorrow. It will return next week. And Brad here will be with us. I assume you're going to be with us next week, right, Brad?
Sorry for what I was reading chat. Sorry, what?
Crewcast. I was just talking about how there's
Oh,
no
yeah,
crewcast
yeah.
tomorrow, but we're going to be back 1 week from tomorrow.
Yeah,
Supposedly.
definitely. Wait, when's Connect, by the way? Is that?
It's the 11th.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
October
Tuesday.
11th.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We'll be good. Yep, perfect.
Oh, that is, I didn't. You know that had not even occurred to me. We're going to be on
Right
the eve of Connect. Yeah. So speculation station, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. So if you haven't already, be sure to get over there and subscribe. You'll find the links to all Brad's stuff in the description down below. Be sure to give him a follow as well, especially if you're interested in the kind of things we've been talking to up until now. Of course, again, he's the man. He's the guy that knows more about it than anyone else I know.
Yeah, I will just want to plug that I do have a video. I do want to talk a little more in depth about the Quest 3 stuff because I mostly spent the first video like just getting the info out there. But if you're interested a little bit more on some of my insights about why I think meta is going that path, I will spend probably even more time in that video. So keep an eye on it. Yeah.
It's real interesting, the reaction to it. A lot of people had the same reaction as I did, and it's just yet another example of what expectations do for you in this space. If you expect something to the point where you absolutely believe it to be fact, this market will smack you down every time. Yeah. So everyone counting their chickens with the Quest 3 eye tracking got a nice reality check this past week. So yeah. Anyway, thank you again, Brad. We will talk to you very soon. And yeah, it was great. It was fun.
Yep. Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
Hi, Brad.
So guys, that's it for hardware. I'm exhausted, man. Let's talk about something fun, right?
Hell yeah. Please.
Everything out here is about building, about creation. I want something different. I can make you into whatever we need. You gotta be light, fast, tall, strong, heavy. Everything's possible for Lava Gang.
AI, the new album from Paradise Decay, is available on Bandcamp. Yeah, check it out, guys. So yeah, shout out to Paradise Decay. We're obviously using his footage for our background for this segment. because we're going to talk a little bit about BONELAB, one of the more hyped releases that the VR ecosystem has seen all year. This game came to us last Thursday, September the 29th, for Quest 2, Oculus Rift, and Steam VR. $40 the launch price for this. Eric, the long-awaited follow-up to Stress Level Zero's Boneworks, which was a very polarizing title for its time. And having read a lot of the feedback over the last few days surrounding this, I think that this title is going to be just as polarizing, if not more so. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, this title has been anticipated for so long. I mean, I think we had talked. I don't know if we talked about it last time, but you know, they Stress Level Zero was talking about Project 4, like right after Boneworks released. It's been that long, so it's been touted for a long time. People thought it was coming for a long, long time, and it was super hyped. I mean, when this happens to games, they almost never can live up to the hype, but it's just awesome that so many people are talking about it. And these games are streamers' dreams, and this is good for VR. Before we even get into the game, think about how many flat streamers will stream this just because it's Boneworks, and they did when it was it's BONELAB, but they did it when it was Boneworks also because people want to see this shit. So yeah, before we even get into the game itself, just being Boneworks and being this anticipated is good for virtual reality. So I'm super stoked about it, and as we just said, we were talking in the break. I have some thoughts that I'm ready to get into.
Ruuts, have we had another title that has generated this much buzz this year?
No, well, this is one of the ones. This is the Vertigo 2. This is the BONELAB. There's certain titles that are very heavily anticipated, and this one was anticipated because it's coming to the Quest, and the Questies didn't get to play this, right? And so how good was the implementation going to be for the physics? How was it going to look? And but they actually get to play this game now, and a lot of people, this is the weirdest thing that I've seen in the comments, is people saying that this should have just been a sequel, and I don't feel that way. I mean, you know what I mean, or not a sequel, a DLC. And I feel like this is its own game. I felt like that was a very weird comment. I mean, it has a lot of similarities, but I don't believe it's a DLC to me.
I understand the sentiment because this is not a traditional game by any sense of the word. In fact, this is probably one of the more unique titles I've ever participated in, and I don't just mean in content. I mean in structure. I've never seen a title that's structured quite like this, that starts you out in kind of a campaign, but then the second chapter of the campaign happens to be the menu area for this larger experience that has like this endless supply of, I don't know what to call it, like different gaming scenarios. Like, I think, Eric, I feel like sandbox is a little bit too simple a term to describe what BONELAB is. It really is a lab, right?
This is, I think people have a tough time because I don't think there's anything quite like it. I mean, it is very similar to Boneworks, but I mean, I think it's even more than Boneworks. You know what I mean? For me, I think there is a progression there for sure, and the reason that people are trying to put something on it to say it's this or it's that is because we can't quite put a finger on it exactly what it is. It's different than any other game out there, and I am quick to judge these games, as everybody knows, and I played like about an hour into it when it launched on launch day, and I went on my show and I talked about it, and I didn't understand at that point, I don't think, exactly what this game is, because you can't figure that out in an hour, right? You need time into this game to get an idea of what it is you're trying to do, and what Stress Level Zero is trying to put you through. This is them wanting you to play through what they think is the definition of a game. And to me, I mean, I have to give them credit for doing something different and thinking outside of the normal box that is a game. There's a lot here to do. It may not be my game. It may not be your game, but there's a lot here to like, especially if you like these types of things. So there's a lot here for sure.
It's so meta. It's meta what they're trying to do here, because even back from Boneworks, the lore kind of alluded to the MythOS, kind of this digital utopia, or not really utopia, this digital realm where anything's possible and you get to skirt death, and it's very lifelike but better than the physical world. Very much a metaverse type scenario. I kind of feel like what BONELAB does is expand upon that framework to give us something that's kind of a prototype work in progress for something that could end up being like a MythOS, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like to me, it's kind of like Half-Life, Alex, and all the mods and stuff. Like it's built in with the intention that somebody else is going to build upon it and make something even better, possibly. You know, and there's so many things that I had like thoughts about what I was going to like or not like. And one thing that I was not, I guess I was disappointed with, because I didn't expect it to be different, but I can't stand the fucking body, man. Like, I can't tell you how many times my arm is getting caught on I mean, I just want the hands. I know it's never going to happen. The amazing, and it is amazing. Their inverse kinematics is amazing. But when I'm climbing around, everything that I felt about the first moving around climbing shit, I felt probably even more so. There were so many times I'm climbing and I'm trying to climb up something, and I'm like, you have to do it from a specific way, because, and I get it, like in real life you can't just go through bars, but in real life everything's not fucking hanging and getting caught on fucking ladders and shit. I hated the climbing, and I thought one of the coolest parts was the parkour, the dungeon, going through that. But whenever I got to a climbing part of it, I thought, oh, fuck, man. Like, I kept thinking if the climbing was better, like, I can't remember some of these indie games that have been doing lately where the climbing just feels really good. Like, it would make it so much better for me, because I don't know. Maybe you had a magical version of it, Wes, but I just feel like the climbing is still jank, and I just don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear you say that the climbing was frustrated. I was surprised to hear you say that you thought it was worse, because, you know, as frustrating as it even still is, I did feel like there was an improvement over the original. So let me explain to those of you who aren't familiar with Boneworks and our thoughts on it. I basically had two main complaints about Boneworks and how the physics worked. First of all, is what Ruuts just said. It was the climbing. Not only are your limbs constantly getting caught on things as you try to climb, but in Boneworks, when you would summit something and mount it, it was damn near impossible to get your legs up on top of the thing so that you could stand up.
They did fix it.
Right, and now you can do that. If you make it to the top of something, you can get on top of it easily, which is a big thing for me for the first one, because I was trying to climb everything until I just got so frustrated with not being able to actually stand on top of what I climbed that I just said fuck it and quit trying to climb anything. So they did fix that. But what Ruuts is referring to here is a problem that is persistent throughout both titles, and that is that these developers are so focused on having their physics system be one-to-one realistic. And by the way, the physics system is a marvel. It's amazing what they do with this. But they don't account for your missing sense of touch that you have in real life. So, for example, if you're climbing a ladder in real life and you put one hand up to grab the one rung and you let go of this hand, if your hand is stuck behind one of the bottom rungs, you'll feel that. And what you'll do is you'll just jerk your hand out and pull it around it. But in Boneworks, you can't feel, right? It's VR. And instead of compensating for that and allowing some kind of a mechanic to let your hand pass through or around whatever it's catching on, they'll just leave you stuck on it. Your hand will just be stuck there, and you're trying to climb and wondering why you're not moving. And the reason why is because your hand is stuck on a rung, which in the physical world, 10 times out of 10 is going to take about 1/10 of a second for you to reach around it. So there's all kinds of little stuff like this in the world that makes Boneworks just as frustrating as it is amazing. But Eric, I kind of felt like, again, while it is still frustrating on that base level, I do think that this title is a step in the right direction because they did polish it up a little bit.
Yeah, so what I was alluding to earlier is I went on last week and I played it for like an hour, and then I went on my show and I came out and said, look, this thing is a marvel that it's even on the platform. I think it's amazing. But everybody's saying it's a 5.0, and there's serious issues here. And I listed out all the issues I had, which basically is the movement and the mechanics and the physics. All that whole package just was broken for me again. Like I was having issues, putting my gun away or using the inventory system or climbing or pulling myself over the wall. And I went back in, like I said I was going to, and I spent more time with it. And it's not the game's fault. It was my fault. Because I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. We're used to grip as in grip button. So when you go to grab something, you use a grip button. Well, they don't do it that way. You need to use the grip button and you need to use the trigger button here. And if you don't do that correctly, you're going to drop things or you're not going to hold them correctly. You're not going to be able to pick them up. So when I went back in after my first play and I kind of figured that out a little bit and spent some more time playing around with it, I had no issues putting my gun in my holster, which I had dropped it about 20 times the first time I played. This time, boom, snapped it right in, no problem. I had an easier time putting things, opening my inventory backpack and putting things in slots, where before I would take the mace and I would go to stick it in the thing and I did it 10 times and it would fall. And then I would do it one time and it would work. And I thought I had it right and I went back and did it again and it was wrong. This time, I don't know what happened, why. I just spent more time with it. I figured it out. And it worked every time. I didn't have any issues. So this is a me problem, not a game problem. And why is it a me problem? Because they do things differently. They're not. This is the stuff that I say all the time that I don't want. I don't want cookie cutter. Don't give me cookie cutter. Give me something different. The problem is stress level 0 takes everything to the nth fucking level. Okay? So they take what I say and they freaking way blow it out of proportion, and then they make a game that's almost inaccessible to people because they don't tell you what to do, or they do things differently than you're normally used to doing because they want to do something different.
Well, that's the problem. They're for an hour and experience everything you experienced, and then decide, you know what, I'm going to go back in there and see if I can figure out how I'm putting something in right or wrong. You have a 2-hour window. And if you don't understand what's going on and you feel like the game is jank or broke and it's something you're not doing right, how many people are leaving bad reviews or are refunding the game? I kind of feel like as much as I hate tutorials, give us a 5-minute fucking tutorial on this type of shit that we need to know. And then I'll do it. And then I'll be able to put my stuff away real easy, because it can be a problem.
Yeah, they go the opposite way. And the same thing with climbing. Like, I shit all over the climbing. I'm like, this is terrible. But I was having issues getting over a wall. And it's just, you have to figure it out because it's different than any other climbing game. Usually climbing games, you pull up and it will throw you up over the wall or give you that animation of you climbing over the wall. Here, you have to kind of like pull yourself forward and up at the same time. And it's a different motion than you're used to doing. And once you figure it out, you're fine. And then the whole jumping thing, too, there's a momentum-based physics here that you have to figure out. So if you know Boneworks, you have an idea of what that is. But if you're a new player and you're trying to figure out, well, I feel sluggish when I go to jump, something's not right. There's a momentum to it that you have to build. Now, again, is this the game's fault? No, it's because we're set up to play these games the way every other developer set it up to do, and they decided to do something different. So in the end, it's really not the game's fault. It's kind of the developer's fault. It's because they want to change things so badly, they get in their own way sometimes. And that's the issue I have with this game. It's like they went the opposite way. They were like, fuck every new person. I'm only making this game for anybody who's not going to get sick in VR and anybody who has probably either played Boneworks or knows how this game works. If you're a new player to VR, I don't know how you get through this game in any way. I just don't know how you do it. Like if you were like, all right, I've never played VR before, but man, the Boneworks, which I saw my favorite streamer stream, is now on Quest 2 that I can get for $300 or $400. I'm gonna go do it and I'm gonna get it. You're not getting through this game, dude. You'd have to give yourself a week or 2 weeks to learn, number one, not to get sick in there, and number two, to learn how to work everything. It's just not a beginner-friendly game. It's not a Quest 2 game, you know, for me. Like, again, I want these games, but they just took it too far, Wes, right?
Well, here's the thing with me. I think I benefited a lot from the fact that I played Boneworks last week. And so I was already kind of in the frame of the mind, used to dealing with all of the small details of how you have to operate in this space that they built. But that doesn't mean that I came out unscathed with my first impression here, because, you know, a lot of the criticism of the original Boneworks is that it wasn't game-like enough, that it was more of a tech demo than a game. And, you know, although we explored that idea thoroughly, I'll typically come down on the side of it is a good game. It's one of the better games in VR. But that doesn't mean that there was no merit to that argument. And coming into BONELAB, one of my biggest worries about it is in the name. It's called a lab, which means that it implies that it's going to lean even more into being like a sandbox tech demo and less into being a campaign. So I buy the game, I start playing it, and by the way, if you're interested in living my my very first playthrough, I did capture it. It's on the Virtual Strangers Patreon. I released it as an exclusive video last week, so you guys can get my my first impressions from there. But after you play through the prelude, which is about a 30 minutes to an hour, like campaign style level, you come into the lab, right? Which the second level of the game is the lab, but it doesn't tell you that. So I'm thinking, okay, so this is it. So there's 6 different areas of the map, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 is like tac trials, and 2 is arena mode, 3 is a sandbox, you know, and it's all this sort of thing, this kind of stuff that typically you would consider to be DLC type things, add-ons, not things that a game is built around. And I searched this whole area thoroughly, and I don't see anywhere that says, okay, go through here for the campaign, to continue the campaign. So I'm thinking, okay, so my worst fears have been realized here. There is no campaign. It's just an hour, and now the rest of it is going to be mods and sandbox stuff, which, by the way, we'll talk about in a moment. A lot of the sandbox stuff is friggin' incredible. But it took me going back in to realize that this whole lab, this whole hub world, is a level in and of itself. It's a puzzle level. And you have to kind of interact with the different modes, the different game modes, the experimental modes, to unlock the pieces of the puzzle so that you can then solve the puzzle to move on through the campaign. I mean, Ruuts, this is unlike anything that I've ever even conceived before in a game. I mean, these guys are operating on a whole different level, and I'm glad that I went back into the game before doing this this segment here, because if you had talked to me 3 days ago about BONELABs, I wouldn't have had a whole lot of nice things to say about it. But now I'm just kind of blown away.
It's crazy because it's in one more thing that they didn't explain anything. And I guess in this respect, it's a good thing, you know, because it's a puzzle. Like you said, you're trying to figure it out. But I must have roamed around that thing 45 minutes. I tried using that magnet thing. I tried everything. I'm like, what is it? And then I said, well, you know what? I guess fuck it. I might as well start going in these things and check them out, you know? And then I started realizing, oh, okay, this is, you know, things are starting to happen. But I thought it was pretty cool. And like I said, I really did think that you know, I don't know if we're moving on to this or not, but I'll say that dungeon thing was super cool. The parkour.
I didn't do the parkour. Like I haven't done that part yet. I did. So, minor spoiler alert here for anybody who doesn't want any kind of clue. You might want to plug your ears up for about 30 seconds. But you have to, in order to continue on through the campaign, to get the puzzle pieces, you have to participate in 3 out of the 6 game modes that are available in the lab.
Did you figure that out? Did you figure that out on your own? I'm just curious.
Well, somebody had mentioned to me that you had to play with that stuff to.
I did all 6 or everything.
I had to go look it up though. I mean, I did them all. I did all 6 just because I thought that's what you had to do. But I had to go look it up.
It was somebody in your chat, Eric, that told me that in order to continue the campaign, you had to play some of this stuff. So I kind of knew coming out of your episode on Thursday that there was more to it, that I needed to mess around with this stuff that typically I wouldn't mess around with. Like I normally don't play with sandbox modes and things like that.
Yeah. You think they did that on purpose? You play all those modes?
Oh yeah, for sure they did it on purpose. And I think it's one of the more clever things I've ever seen in a game. That the menu itself is a puzzle, which itself is a level in the campaign. It's crazy. And then, we say that there's 6 modes, right, in the lab. But you realize quickly that that's a big underestimation, because every door that you go to, whether it be tac trials or whether it be the parkour or whether it be, the mods, every door you come to has options and different modes within those modes. So basically, Eric, what we have here is we have a Boneworks style campaign, right? On top of that, kind of in the peripheral, built all around it, are all of these different game modes, each one of which has a ton of developer created content for you to get in that's just as high quality as the campaign. There's just no, story or driver behind it. It's just all about the doing and having fun. So you have the campaign, you have all this extra developer created content, and that's available right now. But where I think, Eric, that this title is really going to make its mark and go on to be known as one of the more revolutionary titles that have ever been released in VR, is the fact that not only have the developers given you all of this infinite sea of content, but they've also now given us the tools to make it our own. So there's already a ton of content in this game. It's ridiculous how much there is to play, but it's only going to grow from here, because now the talented people in the VR community are going to get their hands on these tools, and they're going to use the examples that the developers have given, and they're going to create all new games and all new experiences within this world. It really is something exceptional.
Yeah, I mean, this almost becomes a source engine, right? Like Half-Life Alyx, you know what I mean? This is going to create a lot of stuff. And for me, I think I'm probably more excited for what the modding community will do with this than I am for the base game itself. Because you're going to see a ton come out of this. There's so many creative people out there. It's going to be amazing. And then, the developers themselves, Stress Level Zero can still add stuff to this too. With that, it's so, it's going to be so easy to do. And that's the other thing too, though, here is there's a lot here to all this, right? Like you're saying, there's a campaign. You just have to figure out how to get there. But in doing so, there's a lot of stuff you get to do. There's like horde modes with, like with zombies. And then there's like, the parkour, which is super cool. Once you get the movement down, you can get really quick and really good at it. There's these other like drop down things, and there's just the arena mode. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff here that you can do, and it'll give you, there's go-karts in here, and there's a ton of stuff to find and collect. The problem is there's no coherent path to any of it. Like, you don't, like tell me that
you got to figure it out. Yeah, you got to figure it all out.
Which is okay. People like puzzles in games, but if you make one of the puzzles how I get into the fucking game, That's a problem. Like, I need to get into the game and then give me the puzzle.
Sounds ridiculous, right?
Don't. It's almost like they do this. They say, you know what? If you're not smart enough to play my game, we don't want you to play our game. You know what? Go return it. We'd rather have you return it because you're too fucking dumb to play our game. So you know what? We don't want you. Well, that's dumb. Okay. I mean, you've made your game not accessible. It just feels like it's like not cohesive. There's no. Just give me like they did the right things here, Wes. They gave us more of what we wanted. They fixed the things. Problem is they gave you no direction of how to figure out that they fixed those things. You have to figure this out all on your own. Literally, I had to go look up and watch somebody's video because I heard that there was campaign and you had to do things. I had to figure it out, and I'm like, you know, if I have to do that, how many people didn't do it and just returned it? They're like, you know,
that's the interesting thing about this, right? Because this is kind of an extension of a sort of seeming attitude from the creators of this game that Ruuts and I picked up on from the original. This kind of, I don't know, it's kind of difficult to describe it, kind of the snarkiness from the developers. Like, if our game's not for you, then that's your problem, not ours, right? And in the first game, you could see it through comments written on the wall or the way certain things were made. There's little hints here and there, but it seems like they've taken that to the nth degree here, although they have hidden it a little bit better than they did the first time. But Ruuts, that kind of works in the PC space, right? Because, you know, a lot of PC gamers kind of have this same kind of attitude, like, if you can't use our stuff, then that's your problem, not ours. But we're talking about with BONELAB here, a game now that isn't just a PC game anymore, right? They're now taking this thing to other platforms that's more geared toward casuals. Do you guys think that might eventually be a problem for them, where stuff like this is more accepted on PC than it would be on Quest or even PlayStation VR 2?
There's a lot of people out there that, and this is going to sound condescending, but probably aren't smart enough to figure out what the fuck's going on in this game. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that if somebody had to go and look, I mean, I don't have hours to just roam around, right? But I mean, there's a lot of people that are so casual that there's no way they're getting that far into the game. And so, yeah, I think it could cause a big problem. And it's weird because everything that we want, that they're doing a lot of it's kind of in such a weird way that it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and a lot of people are not going to get that far in this game, you know?
Which is a shame because again, they fixed it. They did what we asked them to do, a lot of it anyway. If you give it time and to get used to the systems, they really they almost fixed everything that we wanted them to, but they gave you no path to find it out.
So Eric, you're the kind of you're the resident Quest guy here. You're the head of one of the more prominent Quest communities in the world. So on one hand, you have this complete enigma of a game that is going to confound casual gamers, undoubtedly. On the other hand, you have a game here that does things technically that no other game in the Quest library can do. So how is this game going to be received?
Originally, I thought it was going to be like overwhelmingly successful to the point where people had blinders on, where they were just going to say, it's great. It's fantastic. I just love it because I have Boneworks and I don't care. You know, I have Boneworks, you know, Boneworks is BONELAB and it's on a Quest too, so I don't care. But now I've seen a turn. Like, now I haven't looked at the Quest store to see what the ratings were. They were so high in the beginning, but people were giving it 5s. The game was out for 5 minutes, and they were giving it 5.0s just because they were freaking so happy that the game was released.
Fanboys.
Which is so stupid. You're going to review a game because you're just happy that it's released. I mean, you know, take some time and think about what you're doing, because people are putting their hard-earned money and basing it off of the ratings reviews. So you're gonna, you know, somebody might buy this for $40 because you gave it a 5-star review just because you got a hard on because they fucking released Boneworks. So think about what you're doing before you make a stupid ass review. And then I'm starting to see a turn. I'm starting to see, like, in my group and, you know, in our communities, people are like really starting to hit this thing. and they're really starting to dig on it where I think it deserves to be, well, two things. I think they're hitting on it where it deserves to be and a little bit where it doesn't. Again, I did the same thing. I hit on it where it doesn't deserve to be hit on because it was my fault that I didn't actually properly learn the physics and learn the mechanics. And when I gave it time and went back in, I thought it was really good. And that is something you probably shouldn't dig it on. They are digging it correctly on that. There's no cohesive line here. There's no we don't want hand holding a game for sure. I don't want that. But if you can't put a blindfold on me either, you know what I mean. You can't not give me anything. And they did, and that's stress level 0. They take everything too far. Just dial it back a little bit, guys. A little bit. Come down a little bit to our level. You don't need to be up here and looking down on everybody. Come down a little bit. That's all I'm asking. And this game would be worth every bogus rating that it's probably getting.
So it's a very divisive title. As we said at the top of this segment, you're going to have people like Decepticon here who says, I prefer no hand holding. And then on the other end, you're going to have people like Chris Richardson who says it isn't hand holding to explain how to play the friggin' game. So exactly what I predict is going to kind of be the narrative going forward. This is going to be a beloved game. It's going to go down with legendary status, but it's not going to be unanimous, right? There's always going to be valid criticism coming from the other side. People who are more casual, people who just want to get into VR and relax and play a game for a little while without having to struggle, whether that struggle be mental or physical. So then that brings us down to the final question here, Ruuts. We had Boneworks, which was a great game, a nice campaign with some extras that got added in later. $30. Now we have BONELAB with a very similar campaign, which is quite a bit shorter from what I understand. I haven't finished it yet, but this is a shorter campaign. But in place of, let's say, 1/3 of the original campaign, you're getting just this plethora of not only developer-created content in all these other modes, but then the possibility going forward of the community really making this into something special. $40, take it or leave it.
I think it's worth $40. I mean, once you get past that point, I wish they did. I agree with Chris Richardson. I don't think hand holding is explaining how to play the game, at least pointing you in the right direction. But at the same time, the when you get past it, the feeling you get. So it's bittersweet, I guess, in that respect. But I definitely think it's worth it. It's definitely the production, and what you get there is worth $40. And you're gonna love the parkour stuff, Wes. Like, it's like blades fucking swinging everywhere, and I mean, you're not just running and jumping. Like, it's like an obstacle course of death, and you're trying to beat times, and it's just, I felt like I was in a platformer. It was super cool. If they fixed the climbing a little bit better, and I think you nailed it. If my arm goes through that bar from behind my back, I'll never know it. So I thought about this. I thought about Sony and what we talked about on Sunday, and how they said that there was a fine line of making it realistic, but also making it flow and play better, right? Or whatever the actual quote was. And I feel like that stress level 0 could learn from that, because getting that balance to where everything flows right, if they could make it flow perfect, this game would be phenomenal. And that being said, it's a very good game.
It goes back to the old doorknobs discussion, right? Way back in the day. Like, you want to make a door that works like a real door, but you don't want to make it to where opening a door in VR is any more challenging than opening a door in real life.
I pulled a whole desk, Wes. I picked a chick. Okay, I was a chick, and I went to open the drawer, and the whole desk went. And so, like, that theory of maybe if you're a bigger person and you got more strength, no, it's they they like even to the point with that thing that you're the beam with the thing you have to raise and lower. They put things on each side because you have to grab on, because when you're trying to use the joystick, you start to drift and do weird stuff. So this isn't, I mean, there is room for improvement. Stress level 0, if you ever see this, you probably don't like us, but we love the game. We just think that there's some things that could change. We're probably the reason why you had the things, and the guy smiled and made such a production of the save thing in the last one, which I don't know. So.
Yeah. So Fluke Rogi joining us in chat says, I lost it here. Says, couldn't stand BONELAB. I utterly despise the physics, and there's no other positive thing that can get me past it. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, Fluke Rogi is a VR veteran. He's someone who's been in the space, someone whose opinion I respect. Not for him. So Eric, like, it's an easy recommend for me. Like, I think that there's $40 worth of game here all day long, but I think we have to put that caveat on there that there's a very real possibility that this game might not be for you.
Yep. I this is the first time I've ever been, I can't answer the question. I just can't. I don't know if this game is worth $40 or not. For me, it's worth $40. Okay, and just so you guys know, we bought this game. Okay, and no, we didn't get a key, so we bought this game. This wasn't us,
By the
getting
way,
a free key. And we had to worry
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm sorry. Allow me to jab the fucking developer here for just a moment, because I started to request review keys for this thing, right? So there's no contact info out there. The only way that you can contact these people from their website is through social media. They have DMs turned off on Twitter. You go to their Facebook and you can use Messenger to message them. So I send them a message to introduce myself, who I am, and my next message was going to be to request review access. So after I sent my introductory message, I get an auto reply, which says a bunch of different things. But one of the things that was in that message was that we don't give out review keys. So I just stopped right there. All right. I'm not a person that tries to bulldoze devs. If they don't want my help, then that's fine. I'll either buy their game or I won't. So I just let it go at that. But then the following Monday, I'm in a room with a lot of my peers and colleagues, and it was just like me and maybe one or two other people who hadn't played this fucking game yet because they had review keys. So stress level 0, you can kiss my ass. And you might want to be a little more honest with your auto replies. If it's selective, say it's selective.
That's
if
exactly
you're not giving out
it.
review keys,
Somebody told me on their Discord, it says that if you ask for a key, we're banning you.
Yeah, right.
I was like, damn, dude. Like, I don't know. I get it. Like, you want, certain people to cover it, and that's respectable. You choose who you want to cover it. That doesn't hurt my feelings. They don't choose us, but like you said, at least be honest and just say, you know, we'll contact you if we want you to cover our game. Okay, cool.
Right.
You know,
exactly. That's
Right.
all they would have had to say.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm sorry
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No,
Eric.
I'm glad you said it. Yeah, because and we did buy this game, and I'm giving away 2 keys over on my channel, and I bought both of those fucking keys too.
God.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I spent a lot of money on this game, and that's why it's tough for me to say this, because for me, I think it's worth $40. But can I recommend this game to a person that just got their quest for the first time? I don't think so. I don't think I could put you in here. I don't, unless I'm gonna sit there with you and walk you through it and handhold you and then and help you get over motion sickness or anything like that. I don't think I can put you in this game. I think I'd have to tell you to go play VR for 6 months and then get into this game. And there's just so much here that I would hate to tell somebody to go buy this game and spend $40 and then have a terrible experience. And that's what you're gonna get, Wes. You're exactly right. You're gonna get somebody who's absolutely gonna love this game and gonna want to spend hundreds of hours in here or you're going to get somebody who's going to nope out after 3 hours and then not be able to get a refund because we told them to buy it. So I just don't know. I don't know what to say in this game. I would say if you're a VR veteran and you have no problem with anything else, and you can go look up and figure out how to get through this stuff, and you want to spend time learning it, there's a lot here to love. There's so much good going on in this game that they've done a really, really good job with. And like I said, some of my criticisms, I'm completely wrong. The criticism I have are definitely not there once I learned how to do it, not them. I had to learn. That's my fault. But the other criticisms are fair, and especially for new people. So this is going to be the first time where I'm going to say, I don't know, Wes. I can't give you an answer. I'm sorry.
So a few things from our awesome chat here. First of all, Guido with the $40 US donation says, donating to help you guys pay for a game that you shouldn't have had to buy. Foam finger for these jerks.
Guido's awesome, dude.
But beyond that, thank you, Guido. Very much appreciate it. You're awesome as always. By the way, Guido made it official and joined our Patreon
Nice.
last week.
So he's not passing money to you in the. I guess he's not seeing you anymore.
I
Right?
haven't been at work, right? So he had to figure out another way.
Sure.
Beyond that, Simplex in our chat pointing out that this is a cross-buy title. We failed to mention that.
It's true.
There's a big positive buying this on Quest is that you also get the PC version as well. So that's a bit of a check mark on the value side.
Let me ask you guys this, and because we've established that we feel like 40 for us could be worth it, but maybe not for else. But everyone else, what about 30? Eric, would you feel better about telling people for $30? Or do you think it would still be the same situation?
It definitely helps. I think I would still hesitate. Again,
It's not really about the money, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's about the experience, and then such a bad experience for somebody who who might not be used to VR. You know what I mean? And I think that is my thing. If you like these types of games and you're a VR veteran, I think this is $40, $30. You're good. Buy it. I think so. But I would just hate to say, yeah, go buy it even for $30, and then you absolutely hate this game. And again, you put 3 hours into it, and then you're already out of your return window, and you can't do it, or you don't understand it, or I couldn't even imagine. I had a tough time figuring this thing out, and I played Boneworks. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I played Boneworks, and I spent more time in VR than most.
That's because there's nothing straightforward about it. You're just you just dropped in there, and you're like, okay, what's like, if you like to explore, this is probably a dream for Wes. For my thing is just I don't like continually walking around in circles over and over again, feeling like I have nowhere to go. That it amplifies the feeling of weird. If you're doing that flat, it sucks, right? So
you know what would be a dream for Wes is if they would take this refinement of the climbing and put it into Boneworks, because there's so many areas in Boneworks that I saw, like you can get there if you can climb there. But I was never able to actually get that last step in there. I would start it all over again today if I had that ability. So hopefully they'll go back and kind of patch up the physics in the first game a little bit.
And get my arm out of the fucking ladder. Like that's the biggest thing, because so many times I was like, mother, let go, let go of my arm, bro. It's frustrating. I almost felt like whoever it was that said in the chat that they couldn't do it. Fluke Rogi. That's how I felt. I was like, man, these physics in a lot of ways are amazing, but I just need the body to be disappeared so that I can actually climb and enjoy it.
And Onakazi he's talking about one of the biggest things that I said is you have to almost relearn what you've always been taught as a VR player. He had a tough time just grabbing that cube in the beginning to start the game, because you are trained that the grip button is your grip button. You're not trained that you should have to hit the grip and the trigger at the same time. They are doing something different. Is that the game's fault? No, it's not the game's fault. It's the designing of the game's fault. The game itself is not broken. The mechanics are not broken here, and that's my point. The mechanics are fine once you learn them. It's the designer's fault for not telling you how to do, giving you enough direction.
Yeah.
And then again, you have to give it time. You know, again, if you're trained in VR to play a game a certain way, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get through this. You know that the whole momentum thing in this is different than any other game, right, Wes? I mean, I can't think of another game where they have a momentum system with the jumping that they do here.
Yeah. One more bit of infinite wisdom coming from our chat here, from our friend Paradise Decay. Something huge that we failed to really elaborate on is that all of this magic that they're making here, a lot of which carried over from the original game, but a lot of which is brand new. It all looks and works perfectly on the standalone hardware. Like, this is an amazing feat of engineering here. Now, there are certain areas visually that you can tell that the game was developed with Quest in mind, whether you're playing on PC or on Quest.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that it's a huge downgrade. I would say that not only does most of this game look fairly identical to the original Boneworks, but I would also say that there aren't really any huge differences visually or gameplay wise between the Quest version and the PC version.
Sandbox
would you guys agree with that?
Sandbox would be the only thing that I could imagine being different, because I spawned in like a million of those fucking guys, and like of both kinds. You can get the bad guy. You can spawn in, I don't know what his name was, Charlie or whatever the Ford, that's what it was, right? And then they all start fighting, right? And you got all sorts of stuff going on. I put so much going on my screen that it was like starting to lag me out, and it made me think that, what would the Quest limit be? How many models could you get in that? Because it's not just the people, it's the guns, it's everything that you add in that sandbox. So I would imagine to have a really cool sandbox, you're going to have a better experience on the PC version.
That's probably true. I haven't tested it, but it makes sense. Eric, were your experience... Oh, you didn't even play this on PC, did you?
Yeah, I didn't play the PC version because I've been gone, and I literally got home, like around 11 o'clock today, 11 a.m. today. So I haven't even had a chance to fire it up. I'm super curious to get in there and look. From what I've heard from you and others, there's not a big difference here between the two games. And I've played quite a bit into the Quest game now, and I felt there's definitely a graphical downgrade. Because it's the Quest, and you're right, you see that. But I felt no, from what I remember from Boneworks, I felt no mechanical downgrade. Or what I mean by that is, I didn't feel any lag. I didn't feel any, like, I saw somebody in chat earlier saying that performance was an issue for them on the Quest too, and
yeah, other people have said that too.
I just didn't get that, and I have a lot of time into this game, especially during the hurricane. Man, there wasn't much I could do but sit in the hotel room. So I was playing a lot of BONELAB, and I just didn't have any issues at all.
Motion sickness comes from a lot of it from frame PS dips, and if you're not as prone to feeling sick as other people, because that's for me, that's the only time I feel weird is if the FPS is doing weird stuff, I can feel it, and then I check, and sure enough, that's why I monitor FPS, because I don't like that feeling.
I didn't feel that. Did you? Did you feel it? It is
notable to say. It's notable to say here, though, that while that's true, while it could be a frames issue that would be causing people to feel motion sickness here, we do need to point out that this is not a comfortable game to play. And
true.
If you're someone who is prone to motion sickness, even if the frames are at 120, this game could turn your stomach.
Yeah, the physics of the arms and stuff. Did you notice there is no physics when it comes to the plants, like the foliage? Your hand goes through it, you can't touch the roots, any of that. Everything else, everything else is solid, but certain things are your hand passes through.
Yeah, that's very true. Decepticon says shadows, aliasing, and lighting are about the only difference. And again, those are very minor things. For me, it was more noticeable in natural environments, like at the beginning. Like the geometry didn't seem quite so natural. It wasn't
in the cave, right?
Yeah, it wasn't awesome like on Shadowgate, where it looked like a PC game. You could tell it was a Quest game, not only from the shape of things, but
Wallpaper.
the low resolution textures. The skyboxes in the outdoor scenarios were a little bit blurry. But again, this is all minor stuff that you overlook if you're not just specifically looking for it.
Right. You probably wouldn't even notice it. It does have that immersion level as far as gameplay wise, aside when you're not arms not getting stuck in the ladder.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say if you're someone who played Boneworks and liked it, you're going to love this. And if you didn't like Boneworks, then you're probably going to hate this. So, and if you're on Quest, the only real way to know if this game is for you or not is unfortunately by buying it and trying it out for yourself. And really, that's the only way to be sure. There's so many different wide and varying opinions about this game. It's a very individual thing. Now, with that said, this game gets, a 10 out of 10 in terms of originality and overall uniqueness. There is a ton of content here. Even though the campaign's shorter, there's more content than Boneworks. I think in that regard, it's definitely worth the price. But whether it was $20 or $100, it's really going to come up to each individual person whether or not they actually enjoy playing a game like this.
What are your thoughts on? We were talking about this on last night in the Discord. That there's a new game that Tech brought up that he was thinking about picking up. I think he did pick it up. I don't know if he tried it or not, but it's called Tyrone versus the Cops VR. It's a $2 game, and in the comments it said somebody said this game is better than BONELAB, and it's $38 cheaper. Does that make you want to go out and check out Tyrone versus the Cops? I promised in his back that I would bring this game up because it's got 10 positive reviews.
So I thought we already had a dilemma going in. We had Boneworks.
Oh my God.
Boneworks versus NFL Pro Era versus Into the Radius. By the way, guys, Into the Radius.
That's a good one.
And now we've got Tyrone versus the Cops. What the fuck are we gonna do?
I don't know.
Stay tuned to Wednesday. I want to see the three of us because I don't know where I am right now. I'll tell everybody right now. I have no idea where I am.
I think because I got to play a lot more of this game to even decide if like you said, I want to get really deep.
We could have a knockdown drag out on Wednesday. It could be like.
Yeah, I meant to
brawling.
kind of preface this discussion with we're not going to go super deep on it today. Tune in Wednesday for Game of the Month, and we'll go deep on it. But
so much for that.
yeah, but I think it's safe to say that we're all going to play this game a lot more between now and then. So if you want to know how it kind of our opinions completely changed from Thursday to now. They could change from now to Wednesday. So, again, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you will be notified. And if you can manage to stay up late enough or get up early enough to be there live, you can play a very real part in how things go. So, anyway, I think that's about enough of BONELAB. Let's move on because that's not all that we've been playing. Man, sometimes you just want to relax, right? I think right now would be a pretty good time for a game like this. Little Cities Attractions dropped about 10 days ago or so, September 22nd. Of course, this game is exclusive to Quest 2. and this was a free update to an already existing game, a game that we had already talked about before, being a super chill alternative to the other city builders that are available on the platform. Roots, our initial impressions of this game is it was a fun way to just relax and manage something without having to micromanage it in VR. And on top of that, it's a really interesting way to express yourself artistically as you continue to build up and populate this world that they put you in. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish what you're gonna say.
No, my opinion of this this free update to it is it just further enhances that in every way. It allows you to be a bit more artistic, and what I really love about the attractions update is that it kind of fills in the blanks. Things that were missing from the original game are here now, and so not only does it fill in that blank from a figurative perspective, but literally the little blanks on your map, the little one square areas that you couldn't put anything before, now you have stuff to put there. So it fills in the blanks in more ways than one.
Absolutely. And the last time we talked about it, I said I was going to continue on my my city, and that was a lie. I lied to you guys because I was not able to. I went to it, was gone. I was like, oh, I guess I'm starting over. But the good thing is, and I guess I didn't even really know it. I know it now for next time. You want to leave those spots open, and maybe not just one little corner here or there, because there's ways to multiply. I guess your attraction or whatever they call it, the style rating, right? I wasn't expecting to like this. I went in and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna have the same experience as last time, and then I started getting to these attractions, and I actually really was enjoying myself. And I feel like, I don't know why. I can't explain exactly why these things made it better. I guess just more detail, more artistic or whatever, but I actually had more fun this time than I did last time, and it was super cool. So.
The feedback loop is cool, right? Because when you get in, the attractions are mostly locked. There's only 2 different categories of about 10 or 12, and it's the way that you apply those base ones that brings your style rating up, and then the game rewards you for that by unlocking new types of attractions for you to make a whole other pass over your map, and it's just a nice loop that kind of feeds itself.
Yeah, that gives you that depth, the gameplay depth, right? And right. I kind of feel like it took a chill game and it made it better, but it didn't make it any more complicating. It's still as chill as it was before. The only thing that I want, and I've said this before, that I want to see, because I went through the beginning and I got to wave at the balloon just like that guy did in the video. I wanted to see people in there. It feels really weird to not see little people in there waving back or running around doing their thing. And I can't imagine that that's not coming at some point, because I think that would make the world feel like it comes even more alive than it already does.
I agree with that. So Roots said that he was not going to start over, but then he did. I said I was going to start over, but then I didn't. Eric, what did you do? Did you start a fresh game, or did you pick up your world from before?
I had to start a fresh game because I was in the same boat as Roots. My game was not there anymore. I don't know why or what happened, but yeah, my game wasn't there, so I started from scratch. But I'm glad I did, though, because I had kind of forgotten a little bit about this game, and this is like our blessing and our curse again that we talk about. We have to play almost every game, so we have to move on. But this is one of those games that I'm upset that I have had to move on from. Like, I love this game. I played this game super early, and it's just a good, fun game. And I kind of like the simpler side of the city builder, and where we just talked about BONELAB and how confusing that game can be. This is the opposite. Everything's so easy to do in this game. It's so cool, man. I just love and you said it, relax. You can get in and relax and have fun in here. And what they add now with these new style points is so freaking good, man. It's such a smart thing to do. It gives you a ton of more attractions, but it gives you reasons to put these attractions down to, you know, to do these things other than just have them be there and have your community be happy for them for some reason. But to go out and try and find these little things to do to make them special, like, did you guys know that? Like, and I just found this by just I just thought it was
know
funny.
what you're gonna say.
I just thought, you probably did the same thing I did. I thought it would be funny. Just stick a donut shop right next to the police station, and then I got a big style point for it because I had put it next to the police station, and I just laughed my ass off for like 10 minutes because I just thought it was gonna be funny on my own. I didn't realize the game was gonna, you know, enjoy my humor too, so it was fun to do those things. And I'm sure, you know, with even more time, there's probably even more and different things that you can find that are cool and funny like that. So,
well, that's the cool thing. Is that it adds challenge. You know, one of our only criticisms about this game originally is that there's no challenge, zero, none at all. It's very easy to build yourself up and keep your people happy. But with this attractions update, now you're trying to unlock attractions, right? And the way it works, they give you attractions, they give you some small stipulation about where you can put them, and the number of points that you get for applying these depends on how many people there are in the area. So they'll tell you you can put a hot dog shop in a market district. So you put it over there, and how many points you get depends on how many shops there are around it. You know, makes sense. So this is how you kind of progress and build yourself as you go. What makes it challenging is that there are bonus points that are hidden. And it's the type of stuff Eric talked about, like you can put a donut shop anywhere, and how many shops or people are around, that'll be how many points you get for it. But, you know, they don't tell you that if you put the donut shop next to the police station, you're going to get a bonus 20 points and really progress a lot faster. So now, all of a sudden, you have this kind of puzzle game where, like, okay, where am I supposed to put the juice bar at now to get the bonus points?
Beach.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have a game that went from having zero challenge to a little bit of challenge. And I feel like with a game like this that's so chill, a little bit of challenge goes a long way.
And this is the thing too. Not everybody's gonna like your changes. You know, like, so I was noticing I'm getting these points, but I'm pissing some people off that, like, you know, you're putting a cell tower next to something or whatever it is, you know, or even these things, you may be the best attraction, but they don't want it next to their house. And so now you pissed off some people, and all of a sudden I'm noticing I'm getting frowns and stuff. It's starting to move the meter there. And so I felt like it was a little bit more challenging to, in a good way, to keep that positive, right? And because that was one of our gripes too, is like, you know, the other version was so hard and this one was too easy, and now this is bridging the gap in good ways. So
yeah, I bulldozed some houses, dude, for sure. People are not happy with me. Eric, I'm a fucking tyrant, man. I'm bulldozing people's homes so I can put an ice cream shop in. Did you do the same thing?
Well, I didn't. I did a couple times when I made mistakes, or I was like, oh, I wanted to do something there. But I mean, I could see where you would have to if you're continuing your city, because you've already filled a lot of it, right? And now you have to make changes. So now you're like just tearing houses down left and right to put a freaking, you know, palm tree. People are pissed, man.
Yeah. You don't even have to tear them down. That's the beauty, is it lets you just put it over it, right? It automatically, in an easy way, it like bulldozes in the placement, right? Which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, finding these bonuses are not easy. Like the donut one was obvious, and there was only like maybe one or two more that I even found. Like, I put a playground next to a school, you know. Duh. But that's really the only one I can think of off the top of my head that I actually found. Like, the rest of them really have me questioning, well, maybe there are certain facilities that I haven't added in my map yet because I'm not finding the bonuses for these certain things.
Yeah. That's cool.
Kazi wants to know, do the palm trees attract rats? I hope not, bro. I hope not. Well, I don't know. Roots, there may be people like you in our city, and
I'm wondering. I'm trying to consider why the palm trees would attract rats. Are they attracted to palm trees for some reason? That's
maybe they like coconuts.
Yeah, maybe. you know. But there are certain things. I go into somebody's backyard and they've got seeds, bird seeds, and peanuts everywhere, and they're like, because they feed the squirrels and the birds, and they're like, I don't know why we have rats, and I'm like, I do. All that shit right there is bringing the rats, and now they're in your house.
No, it's the coconuts.
Yeah, or it's
you
the
know who
coconut.
else is addicted to nuts?
My mom!
Addicted is a good
Attracted,
word.
Addicted. Yeah.
And attracted.
So Eric, you started over your game. Did you make it far enough to start to populate the other islands?
I didn't have enough time. I want to now though. I want to go back because there was stuff I still didn't even open. Like, did you guys open the stadium?
No, I don't
No,
know.
I didn't.
I know there's a huge sports stadium that I know you can do, and I haven't gotten to that point yet. So I do want to go back and do that. And you know, there's even more attractions as far as you go that I didn't get a chance to open up yet too. So I definitely will go back and spend time. I have a good base going right now. Like the first time I did it, there was a lot of things I didn't know, and that city was still there. That was my original city. And it was just, this time it was like I knew where the pitfalls were, and I definitely started to create much better. But I took my time this time, and that's why I still only have that one big section done.
Roots, you know where your original city went, right?
Uh-uh.
It's those people from overseas in the sandy island came and destroyed your
Oh my
civilization.
God, son of a bitch!
It's gone.
I was kind of in the boat though. I was glad that it happened because I got to take my time and redo it. Like Eric said, there was things I didn't know the first time, and I felt like I was the mayor, and it's my town, my shot. I'm calling the shots, and it was cool. I do think that you know, adding the people and adding a little bit more of you know, to that as well will just make it so much cooler, especially like the sporting arena, right? You see something going on inside, you can't really see everything go, but you just see that there's people in there going crazy, right?
Wouldn't it be cool if you looked down in the stadium and you could see people playing pro era?
That would be cool. That would be you could like link some with your friend. It's their game. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Next level, bro.
Yeah,
It's like
that's next
Bonework
level.
shit. Shit, I was going to take it somewhere. Oh, anyway, I wanted to kind of elaborate again a little bit on the fact that really what I think that this update does so well is fill in those gaps, because, you know, I did have to bulldoze some houses, but there was a lot I didn't, because typically when you're building in the original game, everything took up 2 blocks. So, you know, the shape of the island's not perfect. So every now and then you would have gaps in between your buildings, spaces where nothing else would fit. And these attractions, or at least most of them, all fit in those little gaps. So not only is it taking up real estate that was previously wasted, it's doing so in a way that makes this game, which before seemed a little indie and a little bit generic, it seems a lot less so now, because again, it is kind of like an art project, and they're giving you a whole new palette of tools to create with. And it's a pretty deep palette at the end of the day. And beyond that, you know, in addition to all that, it's free. So this, I feel like, it isn't the type of thing typically you would pay for, but I think this kind of falls into the realm of polish. Like, this was some much needed polish for this game, and it was already good, and now it's all that much better because of it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. I really enjoyed my time significantly more than I did the first time, which I enjoyed it the first time, and I think it's that polish that's added in there that just made it more fun for me.
Eric, a very affordable game, worth the $20 price tag. It was 20, right? This game originally?
Yeah, and I mean, this is all free DLC too, by the way. I mean, this is everything you're getting here is included with the game, and yeah, I mean, it was way worth it before, and it's even more worth it now.
Well, here's the thing. If you go get it right now, it's 30% off.
Oh my God!
But like right now, you need to go like right now.
Like
go
this
right
second.
now.
You have a 15-minute window. No, just kidding.
I don't know when the
It's
sale's
not
up,
much.
but
It's today.
last
It's today.
Is it today?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like $14 if you get it right now. It'll be $16 like tomorrow. So yeah, literally go get it right
E-
now.
Even if it's not today, it's today, because you deserve to buy this game for yourself.
Today is the day. Yeah, do it now.
Yep.
Chris Richardson in the chat says I just picked it up for $13.99. Boom.
Hell yeah.
We
There
have
you
a
go.
winner.
I think you're
We
gonna
did our
enjoy it.
jobs.
Yeah, it's
You
chill,
will.
man. It's super chill. It really is, and it's relaxing to play. And sometimes when you're pissed off because your hand keeps getting stuck in ladders, or that you don't know that the menu happens to be the puzzle to unlock the the campaign, sometimes you come out super frustrated and you just need to chill. Well, that's when Little Cities comes in and really takes that edge off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mepper says the sale ends in less than 8 hours. So, yeah, go now. Get it now.
Your time is limited. Let me ask you guys this. And of course, this is opinion. We wouldn't know without testing it. But do you think you put the donut shop next to the police station? I didn't do that, so that's new to me. Do the cops' cars start to show up there? Do you see the cops park? And then if there was like a robbery on the other side of town, do they just ignore that shit? Man, I'm getting donuts.
Yeah.
I'd be
That'd
interested.
be awesome.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Okay, and it's interesting that you say that in jest. Well, that would be cool. I do have a little bit of constructive criticism for them here if the developers do watch this. And it's a very small thing, but so like I already explained how the scoring system works with this, where if you put something in an area, you get points based on how many people are in the area that can make use of it. There's no penalty for doubling up or tripling up, and I feel like that's kind of a flaw. Like for example, if you go to a busy shopping area and you put a bathroom in, like a bathroom house, you can get a lot of stars for that. But the way that's implemented right now, you could line fucking 20 bathrooms up and just bank points for it. I feel like there should be some kind of limit to these, where if you put 2 or 3 in the same area, that you have to pay a penalty in terms of points.
I mean, not necessarily. Sometimes it will do that, as far as like, because you're moving it around, you're looking to see, okay, where can I get the most amount of stars, right? And so you go to put one right next to it, and you're gonna, instead of the 7 stars you got, now it only gives you 1. And I'm like, I ain't putting it there. But then other times, like you said, you can put a shitload of whatever it is, right next to each other, and there should be a penalty, as far as, on top of that. So,
but that's just me nitpicking, and I agree. For what it's worth with Roots, I agree. I think in terms of aesthetic, I think the biggest thing they could do right now is put people in this world.
Yep.
So,
I think it'll be cool. It's gonna be
Co-op,
cool. They're gonna do it.
I'm gonna go city against city.
Yeah, we're gonna fight now. We'll change this game into something completely different.
I want to nuke Roots' city. I want to get all pissed off at him.
Hey,
And Roots, I want to nuke it.
You're like, that would be pretty cool, right?
I want to hit it with an EMP.
I still think to be able to shrink yourself down to size and be in there with the sense of scale, I still think is a missed opportunity.
They added that into this. Actually,
I didn't know. I never did it.
You can shrink down in it, do it now. I don't know if you can get all the way down on ground level, but you can get in there pretty good now.
I think it'd be cool if you could like walk around the city and go in the buildings and stuff. I think this is what I want out of is like 5 years down the road from city builders in VR, right? Like,
yeah,
because I think that's gonna be super cool. Next level, yeah.
Yeah, what I want is Gojira.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That would be cool. It'd be cool if you could build a city and you could have like one of your friends is the attacking monster and you're trying to fight them off. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, you can like have the armed forces come in and fight off the giant monster.
I'm gonna nuke mash this city. Oh, and I'm
What?
just
Wait a minute, hold on. What?
retaliating.
How dare you? Why would you do that to me?
How dare you?
Thomas McNostril asks, does VR add anything other than 3D visuals? Well, what I would say is this. I would say that it adds a lot. In terms of the one big thing that VR adds to every game, and that is presence.
Right.
And what presence means to a game like this is a super relaxing game. You go into this game to relax. And I think a big part of that is that you're secluded in it. Like you're in this environment. There's chill music. I feel like if you were just in your room playing something like this on a screen, that it would lose almost all of its value. Am I wrong?
Nah, I think you're right. There's certain games that they're so amazing that it doesn't matter if it's flat or, well, I guess it's still going to be better in VR, but I think this game has to be in VR. It's just the way it's set up, the sense of ease and intuitive. It's so intuitive, right? The way they do the controls, it makes it a joy to actually play.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it flat. I mean, I know there's a lot of city builder people out there that love that kind of thing, but for me, I would never play this flat. But I'll play it again VR for sure.
It'd be like a Switch game, like a real casual Switch game if it were a flat game, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, recommend from all of us here. Really cool title. To be honest, it turned out to be way better than any of us ever really expected it to be. So kudos to Purple Yonder, and a big thank you to our friends at In Dreams.
Yep.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap up our gaming impressions for the day. Again, if you're interested in what we think about Ghost Runner, the Luke Ross mod, which we were supposed to talk about last week, tune in on Wednesday. We're going to go in depth on that one. Spoiler alert, it's fucking awesome. It's so good.
I don't
Ruuts,
think we're gonna have anything bad to say.
Ruuts, it's so awesome, right?
It is. I can't remember what I was thinking when I played it. It was just like, this is the way a VR parkour game should be. It was like, it's the best I've ever played. I'll leave it at that.
And it's gamepad on top of all that. Like, it feels so natural as a VR game, but there's no motion controls, and it doesn't. I mean, I'm sure motion controls would be cool, but it would change the game fundamentally in ways I'm not sure I would enjoy.
I think it goes back to what we said, what I was saying about BoneWorks or BoneLab, and what Sony said as well. There's certain games that, as much as we'd like to have hand presence, the gameplay, it'd be clunky. It wouldn't feel right. The gamepad makes it feel right. And I think my gut instinct is that game was made for VR with that game schematic, and they put it into flat as well, but it just feels so good in VR that I can't imagine they didn't make it that way. So,
Yeah, I remember when it originally came out. I bought it so early on because it was on sale, and they were talking about it. This was over a year ago. They were talking about it back then, that they were going to potentially either move it into VR, or somebody was going to do a mod on it. So I'm like, I'm going to pick it up because it was amazing, and I'm glad we did now.
yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're going to go in depth on that before we get into the game of the month on Wednesday. Tune in then for that discussion. But right now, let's get into the week's reminders, because, friends, we do have some stuff out this week, and boy, it's another awesome week for VR. Walkabout Mini Golf adds 20,000 leagues under the sea course. So this came out this past Thursday. This is a much highly anticipated DLC, something we've known about for quite some time. The Jules Verne trilogy of Walkabout DLCs, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yeah, this is paid DLC, but I guess that the last few, Eric, have been paid, and I don't hear anybody complaining about it, right?
Not at $2.99 a course, and you get basically the daytime course, the nighttime course, the harder course at nighttime. There's no way. I mean, the courses are killer, all of them, one after another, better and better and better. And for $2.99, how can you complain?
Yeah, like $3, right, for a
Yep.
for a Walkabout DLC, and it seems like each one was better than the last.
And it's, what's crazy is like it's $3. I've never heard anybody complain. Never. Not one person has said it's $3. And they give it, each one of these just gets better and better and better. And what I'm impressed with is the fact that you actually have the hard mode has a completely different last hole. right? Like it changes everything, at least in this one. And then the last one we played, I think that's super cool. And it shows attention to detail to give people a reason to play the harder mode, right? It's not just a few little changes. They completely changed the last hole completely, which is cool.
Decepticon in the chat says only one person in your group has to own the DLC. So that's exactly right. Only one person, in your friends group would technically need to pay the $3 to unlock the course, and then you can invite up to 7 more people to play with you for absolutely free. So if you look at it that way, I mean, that's a hell of a bargain, and it's been the case for every DLC that they've ever put out.
And why would you not want to own every course anyway? Because it's so much content, and you know what I mean? Like each course, as you're stacking them on, before long, you've got this fucking game that's humongous, right? The best thing I love about miniature golf in real life is the really cool, elaborate courses, and they're few and far between, and they're just pumping these things out, and it's $3 for me and my whole family and friends. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Chris Richardson says it's a lovely recreation of the Nautilus. I would concur.
So
Yes,
cool.
Eric?
Yeah, there's so much in here that you like, you go and you find different little things here and there. Like, I had somebody comment on our video, me and Todd did, she's like, I didn't even know you could look in the periscope and you could see out of the periscope, and you can see, the Walkabout mini golf, island that you usually spawn into, when you choose your matches, and you can see that through the periscope. And it's just one of those little stupid things that you wouldn't even, it doesn't make a big deal, but then when you do it and you're like, oh my God, that, and then that, and you add them all up, and you add, the being able to, zoom out and look at the whole sub itself and then see every hole. I mean, it just puts so much thought into these things, and it just blow my mind every one, man. And there's so many things they can do with this franchise. This is not going anywhere anytime soon, and I cannot wait to see what they do next year.
What do you want? What's your dream, Eric? Like if they had just whatever theme, they said, Eric, we want to make a game that you want to go into miniature golf, what would you pick?
Oh man, that's so tough.
Caddyshack.
That would be really good.
That
would be really good. I've heard a lot of good answers. People have said like, Back to the Future, Star Wars. I mean, think about how many things you could do with Star Wars. I mean, you could do all the planets that you could do, and the ice planet of Hoth. You could do a Death Star level. You could
Endor.
You could do Endor and hit like Ewoks over the head with your clubs. I mean, which would be fantastic. Star Wars would be easy. I mean, think about something that's not easy. Think about something like Mad Max into that environment, or one of those, cool things. And I don't know, there's just a million different little things you could do, and I can't wait to see. Yeah, they will.
And they will.
How much fun that's got to be for, I don't know, whoever's in charge of going out and finding these IPs, right, and bringing them in, and then getting to say, we just got 20,000 under the leagues under the sea. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's super cool.
Yeah.
Michelle B says that they have outdone themselves here. Here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Traveling Man says Stephen King. Going that world.
Like pretty much every book. Yeah.
Do The Shining, bro.
Oh my God. The Maze, right? Oh, yeah.
Anyway, much more to come on this game and this DLC, as Eric and I are planning an event, an extravaganza, if you will, that's going to take place over both channels. And we haven't quite decided yet whether or not it's going to be pre-recorded or live. I guess it just depends on how our schedules line up. But we're going to play it together, and we're going to publish on both channels simultaneously, complete with giveaways. We've got some Mr. Taz Swing Plus grips to give away. We've got a couple of copies of this DLC to give away, and we'll probably throw in a key or two for the game itself, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be
crazy. It's going to be crazy.
So, again, make sure you're subscribed here. Make sure you're subscribed over on Q2C. This is something we're probably looking at doing later this week or sometime next week. So, yeah, be on the lookout.
Cool.
But that stuff that's already out this week, how about something fucking awesome that's not out, that's coming out later this week?
Autonomous patrols have been dispatched throughout the sector.
Vice. Do you read?
Skag almost got the drop on me. Streets are crawling with them. You said we had time!
Crackdown started sooner than we thought. Getting hits from all over Presidium. They're rounding up anyone running unsanctioned mods.
So, what's the plan? You got an out for me?
Mina, the only way out is through.
This is crazy, Vice. All our friends?
I had no choice. Sometimes you have to deal with the machine. Sometimes you have to choose the lesser of two evils.
Truant Pixel has announced that Runner is headed to the official Quest store for Quest 2 this Thursday, October 6th, 2022. The studio says its previously mentioned release on Steam VR headsets is still to be announced, but they've also said that they're now targeting PSVR 2 as well. And if you're looking to dive into a little bit of the game's story, the studio has now also published a visual novel for mobile devices and PC called Preamble, which tells the story of Vice, a former smuggler turned corporate cog on the colony world of N351. So I actually had a little bit of a dialogue with the developer earlier today regarding this, and I'm super excited. They've said basically that the story of this game in this world is super detailed and amazing. They've basically brought in world-class voice talent to do this preamble for anyone who wants to get the backstory. But they've separated a lot of it from the game into this preamble app because the game's so fast-paced. They don't want to slow it down by too much storytelling. So if this is something that interests you, you can go right now and watch the preamble. Ooh. And then this Thursday, the game drops for Quest. Eric, I'm super excited for this game. I have been since I saw the first trailer of it. And I was surprised. I didn't know this was coming this week. I just found out when I was doing show prep this morning.
Yeah, it was same here. I was looking at some articles yesterday, and I happened to see it in there. I figured you'd see it. I wasn't going to send it to you because I figured I knew you would find it. So, yeah, I was excited. I've been waiting for this game. Same thing with you. When they announced this game, I was super stoked for this game. This is my kind of game. It's going to be a blast. And like I said, just please be good. I really want this one to be good. I want to have a lot of fun in this game. And it just does look. It looks like fun. It looks like something we don't really have a lot of. Which is definitely motorcycle games, and then having combat like Road Rash with this kind of like art style, this anime slash pixely art style. I think it's gonna be super cool.
Ruuts, super cool art style, breakneck speeds, blasting bad guys with your guns. How could they go wrong?
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't. It looks amazing. One of the things we were all saying in between the trailers, like we have been waiting for this game and we want it to be really good, and it looks really good, but until we get in the headset we won't know. But everything that I heard you just say is good news, right? I want a fast pass game or a fast paced game that they're trying to keep the flow going, right? Like it shows that their attention to detail is good. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Daydreamer. Said they just got their Quest yesterday, or was that yesterday or today? I think yesterday. And wants to know what games to pick up. Daydreamer, I say Saints and Sinners in the chat is an amazing game, as well as I would be remiss. Get Crashland, 100%. Yeah, it's one of the best games in VR, as well as Swarm. Swarm is amazing as well.
And wait a month on Boneworks.
Or BONELAB, yeah, wait to work a month.
Or BONELAB if you haven't been in VR yet.
Yeah.
Moss Book 2, Red Matter.
Yes, Red Matter 2 is amazing.
Lies Beneath. I mean, there's so many good ones, man. So many
Phantom Covert Ops.
Oh God.
But yeah. take Techno Glitch's advice. There's a link in the Discord or in the comments below, or I guess in this page, for our Discord. Join our Discord, and we'll help you bring you in the fold.
Yep.
We'll tell you what's going on.
Probably the number one game. Two games I'd go get right away after
Beat
the
Saber.
fall.
Oh.
And Yuki. Go get Yuki. And after
Beat
the
Saber.
fall. I don't play enough Yuki. Need to get back.
Saints
to
and
Yuki.
Sinners is the
Yeah, and Saints and Sinners.
yeah, that's the number one for me. Like, no matter what platform you're talking about, be it Quest or PlayStation or PC, your first game should be Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners.
Yeah, if you love a Walking Dead, for sure. I can't even imagine. But even if you like creepy zombie games, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is one bit of bad news with regards to Runner, and that is, of course, you have to wait 4 days to play it. It comes out Thursday.
Bullshit.
What are we going to do until then? Well, never fear. We got some cool new stuff dropping on Wednesday, too. One's Alliances, which dropped for Quest 2 back in June, coming to Steam VR this week, but it's not just coming to Steam VR. Everyone who owns this game, regardless of platform, is getting a huge update called Uprising, which adds in the Team Deathmatch mode. It brings along 3 new spells and features new avatars, new challenges, and of course, vital crossplay support between Quest and Steam VR. This is a game that I haven't played quite yet. It hasn't quite captured my imagination enough to draw me in, but this Ruuts is a big step in the right direction for me. They've added a bunch of content in here. They're bringing it to PC. They've got my attention. What about you?
Yeah, it seems like they're doing everything right. And I was reading here. It says that they're Pico crossplay between regions outside of mainland China coming soon. Which I guess either way, like China's not worried about it. They've got so many people. I'm sure they've got plenty of people to play in their pool, right? But I think it's super cool that that they're changing up. They're adding things like you were saying, team deathmatch, something to get you interested in going in. I would like a campaign as well. I was telling you guys that in between, but I think it looks cool.
Yep. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking. I mean, I have actually never played this game. I just it never seemed something that would interest me, so I never went into it. And I think this could get me back. This could get me in there. I own it. I have it in my library. I just never been into it, and this could get me in there. I think it would be. It's a different enough for me, especially with the multiplayer and PvP. I love it, man. So I would definitely like to try it.
Cool. So again, that's out this Wednesday on Steam VR. Be sure to wishlist if this looks like something you're interested in. All right, so that's what's out this week. But one more big reminder before we log out today. It's time for yet again another Viveport Report. This one really fits the reason for the season. Guys, it's October. It's time to play some spooky games. Phasmophobia Apocalypse update hit Viveport just a few days ago, and it hit Steam early last week. This is a huge 7.0 update, guys, bringing a huge new map, a couple of smaller new maps, a ton of quality of life fixes, and just a basic overhaul to many of the game's systems. So whether you're playing this game as a solo player or as a part of a group, it seems to be a much more deep experience than it was all those months ago when we tried this game in the early days. Ruuts, we've said many, many times that we need to get back into this game, and I've never felt so strongly about that statement as I do right now.
Yeah, especially if they're the quality of life. I'm reading right here. It says we're no longer working out of our garage.
We did
it. we made it. Yeah, we made it. We're moving on up. We got a nice sound. This is the thing that the game it sounds like very indie, but amazing, right? And so now it seems like they've been getting all this money. They've been selling a lot of copies, and they're not just running away with the money. They're making the game even better. And so, yeah, I don't think I can think of a more creepy place to do something like this in than a mental institution. I think they picked the right new map that needed to be there from day one. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think it would be amazing to go back into and actually play it, right? Because we didn't get very far.
Right. Oh. That's right. Eric, it is time to play some scary shit. And when you talk to people in the community about what do you want us to play, what are you going to play, it always comes back to Phasmophobia. It's time we get in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, people love this game, and I know I have definitely not given it its due, and we should either real-time review this thing, or we should just get in there and stream it, and we'll get in there, and I think you do 4 people, right? So we get a 4th, and we go in and
D has to be the 4th. We need to get D as the
there
4th.
You go. That's perfect.
And we make her go all the scary places by herself.
We'll sit in the van and we'll just watch her go in.
Yes,
on her own.
D.
Oh my
we
God.
got your back, D.
Why have we not done this before?
Well, I'm all for it. I've been meaning to talk to you guys off camera about what we're going to do this month, because it is October, and you guys know it's the most wonderful time of the year. This is when I play my scary shit. And, new releases aside, I plan to get as much of it in as I possibly can. Some of that's going to be mods, but others will be favorites, such as this one. So, D, she says I'm out.
No, you're not out. You're in. You're
I read it.
So
I read that
in.
as I'm in.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
She said I'm in. I'm in.
I'm in.
She's in. We got this.
Anyway, if you don't have this title and you do have Viveport Infinity, guess what? You do have this title, because it is available with Viveport Infinity, and it is all updated to 7.0, just like the Steam version. Crossplay is available.
Perfect title for that. And I say this every time we bring up Viveport. I question your soul if you don't have it, and if you don't, at least if you're gonna get it, get the annual. It's cheaper, and you get games for free. What are you doing? Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, well said, Uncle Joe. That brings us to our next reminder. This is the part of the show where we remind all of you to support your development community by taking a moment with us right now in real time to wishlist a game. It could be one of these awesome games we talked about today. Could be something else on your radar, but it's a big deal to the developers out there, because it helps them grow their profile on the various storefronts, as well as track user interest. There's a reason why they always ask people to wishlist their games. It's because it's a big deal. So again, it's 30 seconds and a click for any one of us. So please join us right now as we go and wishlist the game. And I know what I'm wishlisting. Runner. Hello.
I'm do that. I'm doing that.
Is that on? It's on the Steam, right? Oh, it's on Quest.
No, it's not on Steam. No Steam, unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm going to do that as well. But I just wishlisted Tyrone versus the Cops, and because I do.
Of course
I think
he did.
I got to check this out. Tech, we need you to stream it, bro. He was going to stream it, but I guess you can't do it over virtual desktop for whatever reason. You need the cable. So
I just went and wishlisted Garden of the Sea because Betty said it's so good. So
I bet you. You know what? I take her. If she says it's good, it probably is really good.
I'm gonna hold her to it, make her stream it, and I'll watch it.
So there's a link in the chat right now to the page for Runner on the Quest store. All you got to do, click that link, click Wishlist,
There we
and
go.
you're done.
I'm doing it right now.
Boom. Boom, son. That's how we do it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got to make sure I
Alright.
get this because I really legitimately want to play this.
Yeah.
That looks
This is gonna be
amazing,
great.
right? I'm going to go do the preamble, I think, because they do have legit voice actors. Like I watched the trailer for It this morning, and it looks cool.
For It, the movie with the clown? No, just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to put D in a game with clowns. That I know she's.
Is she
fond of
afraid?
those
Is
as
she
well.
afraid of clowns?
I'm pretty sure she doesn't like
Wait a
them.
minute. She's afraid of zombies. Afraid of clowns.
What's
Are you
Steve
afraid of
not
the dark?
of?
Are you afraid of the dark, Val?
Wait. You're afraid of the dark, Val?
And if any of you don't know what that's from,
I don't.
you're dead. You're dead to me.
What is
You're
it?
dead
What is
to
it?
me.
Oh my God, I'm dead to Eric. What did I do? What was
Ruuts,
it?
you don't know what that is?
No, I'm sure I do, but I just don't remember.
Jimmy says it to freaking Val all the time.
Oh yeah, well, see, I haven't gone into After the Fall for as much as you guys for a long time, so that's probably
You know what?
why.
You know what I miss though? Is they don't do it anymore. Is the reloading.
They don't do that anymore? Oh my
No.
God! I used to hear that in my sleep.
No, they don't ever do that anymore. But they still do. Found a juice, guys.
They do that one a lot.
Anyway, that's going to bring us to our final reminder this week and every week, and that is how you can do your part to support us, our community, and our channel. Of course, if you haven't already, please consider clicking that big red button and ringing the bell so that you can be notified when we go live here on the Virtual Strangers channel. It is October, friends. We're going to be doing scary games all month long. You're not going to want to miss it. Subscribe. So, of course, if you are already subscribed, like many of you are, and you want to do a little something extra, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon, where for as little as $3 per month, you will get access to our weekly show notes. You will get access to insider updates, and you will get exclusive content, all for less than $1 per week. And you're going to be able to live with yourself because you're going to know that you did your part to help out this community. So I want to, first of all, thank all of our amazing patrons out there. You all are awesome. You guys make us, you make it so that we can do so much more than we otherwise would be able to do, whether that means giveaway keys or review keys, merch. You guys make all this stuff possible through your monetary support. We appreciate you. Now, with that said, I would like to thank, by the way, that's not all you get. You also get your name scrolling on the ticker when we do the outro. After we say goodbye in a moment, you're going to see a list of names. And those are the people who support us on Patreon as of last week. Now, with that said, I would like to thank our 2 new patrons that we put on today.
Wow.
First of all, Michael McQuaid with the $5 subscription. Thank you. That's 2012 ZOZ in parentheses. So I imagine that's probably what I should have said to begin with. But thank you.
Hell yeah.
2012. We appreciate your support. And then Simplex
Wow.
joining the ranks of the
Nice.
Virtual Strangers patrons. Thank you, Simplex. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, all of you.
And
who,
Guido.
support
You
us
said
on
Guido
Patreon.
didn't do it today, but just recently, right?
And yeah, and thank you, Guido, for making that commitment. Guido was already, I mean, he donated $40 today. That's like a year of Patreon, dude. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and as much as we focus on that, because it really does help. Like the games we can't get, whatever, like Wes said, merch, whatever it is, we end up using it for. It all goes back into the channel. But even on tight times, not everybody can afford it. That's where the likes, the shares, the Reddit posts, all of that matters. And you can do your part just by helping us and being here, just watching. So thank you for everybody. We appreciate it.
people in the chat talking about how many people showed up to the show today. Over 110. Then we did over 100 last week, or was it the week before, right?
I think so. It's
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
been busy.
Yeah,
It's
people
been
have
busy.
been showing up. I want to thank everyone out there who's been spreading the word. Thanks to all the Game Cats. Thanks for
Yeah.
Brad, who always puts it out there when he shows up. Which, by the way, you would have known if you were part of the Patreon. You would have known that Brad was coming on
Or
today. I never.
If you hung out with me last night in the Discord streaming, you would have known too, because I told them as well.
I never quite put it out there when we have on high-profile guests like Brad. Basically because, just like everything we do here is for the love of the game. We don't do the stuff that the other channels do all in the name of growth or getting more clicks or more subscribers. That's not what it's about for us. And when we have people like Brad on, it's because we want to talk to Brad about these things. It's not because, Brad's the man and has all these followers and subscribers. It has nothing to do with that. And that's the reason why we kind of like to let it be a surprise. And then word of mouth, it always helps. And of course we love subscribers and we love followers, but it's not all about that for us. And I really want to do everything I can to make that obvious to you all while we're doing this and what motivates us. And so maybe that's, if you're wondering, maybe you're wondering why we don't be a little bit more vocal when we have people like Brad on. That's why.
We're going to do it our way. Like the song
our
says.
way. That's right. It's going to take us 20 years to hit 10K, but
we'll get there.
We will get there because we're your favorite content creator's favorite content creator, and we're the best in the damn game. Yes, I said it again.
Boom.
There you go.
And Wednesday, my 1-year anniversty, guys. Thanks for
Oh my
bringing me on.
God, dude.
Thanks
It's
for
gone.
my-
It's flown by, right?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it was
Eric.
official. It was on for a while, but we hadn't really announced it, and I just kept coming on and coming on. But I think this Wednesday is the actual official day of me becoming a stranger.
I remember when I first had even suggested to Wes before he even knew much about you, and like it was just. I feel like it was meant to be. Like I feel like it just God had his hand in it, and it's been an amazing year, Mash.
Hell yeah, and I
a
appreciate
long
you guys
time.
giving me the opportunity. It was a big deal, and it wasn't easy for you guys to make that decision. So you guys are awesome.
Well, thanks for being here, man. You've brought a lot to the table.
You've brought a lot to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We,
You took a big load off of Wes's shoulders, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much behind the scenes that's going on with these devs and reaching out to people and getting keys. And, like, you guys are like a workhorse team that gets it done. And I appreciate it. I don't tell you enough. So
Thank you. And by the way, again, that's a long time to be in this community. Have you had your blood checked? You might want to do that.
Get it, yeah. Go get that.
just make sure, right? You don't want to be spreading anything.
Don't skimp out. Check for all of it, dude. All of it. Anyway, oh yeah, the Discord. Maybe you don't have money to be part of the Patreon thing, and we don't begrudge you for that. Everyone contributes in their own way, but that doesn't mean you can't be part of the family. You absolutely can by becoming part of the Virtual Strangers Discord, which is linked down below. There's an invitation link. It's 100% free. We're there. We're lurking 24/7, and it really pops off on weeks like this when we have BONELAB coming out, or NFL, or Luke Ross mods, or what have you. We're always talking VR in there and other stuff too. We're getting together for multiplayer games. We're streaming. It's all happening right there, and we invite you to be a part of that. So again, link down below. All you gotta do is click.
You know what's cool? And I was thinking about this because I do it a lot. I mean, if I don't feel like going on Twitch, I might stream in the Discord. But there's a lot of people that would never stream on Twitch, and it could be you, that comes in and they go in the place to hang and they stream their game, and then people come hang out, and it kind of gives you a foothold, and maybe you like it and you become a streamer. And I just think that's cool. I think that's something that I didn't realize could be a part of Discord. Not everything has to be an announced stream on a big platform. Sometimes there's a little private gathering of 5 or 6 people watching you stream is something cooler than streaming on Twitch.
Sometimes that's better, right?
Yeah.
You know, I very much experienced the same thing, streaming at 3 and 4 a.m. in the morning. You know, sometimes it's just a handful of people, but sometimes that's better, you know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, with that said, friends, I would like to thank you all once again for watching. For Ruuts and Eric and Brad, I'm Wes, and we will see you again very, very soon. Bye now.
Brad's the man. Take it easy.
See you later.